Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. It's my pleasure to call to order this meeting of the San Jose City Council for the afternoon of December 10th. Tony, would you please call the roll?
Jimenez.
Present.
Cohen. Ortiz.
Present.
Davis.
Here.
Dwan.
Here.
Candelas.
Here.
Foley. Casey.
Here.
Kamei.
Here.
Mahan.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Great, thank you. Just before we do the pledge, I want to recognize we have a new council member. I want to congratulate Councilmember Casey on his election. And we'll also, he needs no introduction, but also congratulate Councilmember Candelas. Both were sworn in to complete this term and start full terms January 1st. So congratulations to you both. And with that, if you are able, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. For today's invocation, I would like to introduce Aubrey Merriman, Chief Executive Officer of Life Moves, one of the leading providers of interim and supportive housing services in Silicon Valley. Aubrey has been a resident of San Jose and the Evergreen area for more than 2 decades and has spent his career building up our community. Aubrey is among 5 leaders throughout the country to accept the highly esteemed 2024 Bank of America Neighborhood Builders Social Equity Award. Aubrey also serves on the board of directors for Santa Clara County's Continuum of Care and Silicon Valley at Home, and is the past chair of the Emergency Assistance Network of Santa Clara County. Aubrey has stewarded Life Move's innovative and unique client-informed design that prioritizes individual privacy and personalized care, which were heralded in the New York Times just this past fall. Under Aubrey's leadership, Life Moves has supported over 7,400 individuals experiencing homelessness last year across more than 24 sites and programs, including motel conversions and the Guadalupe interim housing site here in San Jose, with a home key site expected to open in February of next year at Branham Lane and Monterey Road in Councilmember Jimenez's district. This site is expected to be our city's largest interim housing project to date. Aubrey is an undeterred hopeaholic dedicated to driving change and meaningful impact in our community. I had the privilege of getting to know him quite well through ALF, the American Leadership Forum, when we were both participants a few years ago, and truly just an exceptional leader in our community, boundless optimism, but realism about what it takes to create change, and just a public servant through and through. So Aubrey, thank you for being here. It's an honor to have you do our invocation today. Thank you for your service to our community. The floor is yours.
Thank you, City Council. Good afternoon, everybody. It's my honor to be here, and I wanted to just share a few words. You know, as the year draws to a close, I'm really honored to take this moment with all of you to reflect on the vibrant tapestry of cultures, faiths, communities that make San Jose a place of inspiration, hope, and connection. Our city thrives because of its diversity. It's an interplay of innovation, traditions, beliefs, and perspectives that shape our collective identity. Within the housing and supportive services space, and in that ecosystem, I've been honored to have witnessed acts of kindness, resilience, and collaboration across organizations, languages, traditions, and customs in every San Jose neighborhood. Whether through celebrations of heritage, interfaith dialogues, or coming together, especially in times of need, we have exemplified the strength found in our unity. Today, with a lot of humility and hope, I join the Honorable Mayor Mahan and the City Council in celebrating this year's remarkable accomplishments, while also acknowledging the work that still lies ahead for the thousands of dedicated city staff, all the work that you do every single day, and the whole community. We may not share the same religious beliefs, political affiliations, or even root for the same sports teams, but we can hold fast to one common truth. We are stronger as a community when all of our neighbors are thriving. This is the hope. This is the challenge, and this is the opportunity. As the people who have been called to lead this community in which we live and work and play, I ask that you withstand the urge to ask first, how do we fix this? And instead turn your attention to the deeper questions. What do we need to learn? How might we need to change? And whose voices have we yet to truly hear? From reflection and listening, real solutions will emerge. Let us remind each other, because we all forget from time to time, particularly in the noisiness of what passes for political debate today, that we are not only leaders, but we're also servants. And our responsibility is to serve the common good of all. Let us remind each other that no matter where we live, everyone, regardless of race, creed, color, sexual orientation, gender identity, or housing status, is our neighbor. And they represent a thread in that vibrant tapestry we've come to celebrate. Let us remind each other to affirm, to respect, and to protect the most vulnerable of those among us, our children, the elderly, the poor, the hungry, the unhoused, and those who are suffering in body, mind, or spirit, those who live on the margins, those who are alone, and those who are ignored or forgotten. Let us remind each other to seek the wisdom and courage to know to do what is right and good and true. May we speak out when it is time to speak out and listen patiently and receptively when it is time to listen. May we always be guided by the spirit of community, by the spirit of justice, by the spirit of love. May we be clear-sighted about the work ahead and the realization that the solutions we are looking for, the successes we are in search of, are right here in this space, in this city, in this region, in this place we all call home. As we prepare to welcome the new year, let us recommit to building bridges, not walls, nurturing understanding, and embracing one another's humanity. I pose this to you. What if here, in the heart of Silicon Valley, we conjured up JFK's commitment to go to the moon and applied that to homelessness or to the many complex issues that we are all working to solve? What if we did that? Together, may we continue fostering a San Jose and a region that honors all voices and creates space for all to flourish. So I wish you all peace, hope, and joy this season, and immense gratitude to the mayor, the city council, and the thousands of city employees that you may not see who do hard work every day, and everybody in the community that makes San Jose the best place to live. Thank you.
Thank you, Aubrey. I appreciate that beautiful reflection as we head to the end of our year here and think about the year ahead, especially you calling out the work of our 7,000 strong city team, incredible staff we have. We are on to our ceremonial items, and we'll start with Councilmember Dwan. If you would join me at the podium, we will recognize Mary Paulette.
Today, it is my privilege to recognize Mary Hinn Paulette, whose dedication to public education spanned over 2 decades. Throughout her career as a teacher, administrator, a principal, and trustee, Mary has worked tirelessly to serve our students, our families, and our community. A proud product of public education herself, she credits much of her success to the opportunities provided by the system and is deeply committed to ensuring future generations have access to the same. Since joining the Evergreen School Board District in 2022, Mary has been an advocate for improving our local school and expanding opportunity for all students. Her effort reflects a steadfast commitment to fostering an educational system that not only prepares students for success, but also equips them to contribute meaningfully to their communities and society. Mary, thank you so much for your continual service and dedication to building for a brighter future for all. Would you like to say just a few words?
Good afternoon. I actually did not think that I am inviting to the podium, so I'm going to speak directly from my heart. My name is Mary Hien Pollitt. As the counselor Doan briefly introduced, I believe in public servant. I serve in education for over 20 years, and every single day I am working and very hard to make sure that students at all schools get opportunity to thrive, to better their lives. And Yobo Buena High School is one of the examples that my staff working with all students every day, and I believe they were here last week at the city council meeting to advocate for animals. And so every single day they learn something new, and they wanted to improve the lives of City of San Jose. And thank you, Mayor, and thank you, the counselor, for supporting our students and support citizens of San Jose, so that we can together working build stronger, better San Jose for all of us to live. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Cohen, if you join me at the podium, we will recognize and proclaim National Cat Lovers Month. Very timely after the item the other day.
Yes, after last week, it's great to be able to celebrate our furry pets. We're going to invite our friends from Dancing Cat to come down. Well, few months in the year provide as many reasons to celebrate as does the month of December, but National Cat Lovers Month is another reason. After over a quarter of U.S. households are home to these sleek, intelligent companions who provide a lifetime of affection, hours of opportunities for play, and plenty of excuses to sit down and relax. Joining me today to accept this proclamation is Ann Chasson, co-founder of the Dancing Cat, and volunteers from the Dancing Cat, a local nonprofit working to ensure that our adoptable cats can find the perfect home forever home. The Dancing Cats Adoption Lounge provides a relaxing living room space for cats and guests to get to know each other. Opened as a pop-up in 2015, their overwhelming success led to a permanent space where they have hosted over 2,000 guests and found homes for over 50 cats. The Dancing Cat rescues adult cats from the San Jose Animal Shelter, which is another place to adopt both kittens and adult cats. Their organization is run almost entirely by volunteers and exists thanks to generous donations from guests and community partners. If you're looking to add a new feline friend this holiday season, please stop by the Dancing Cat and spend some time with a few beautiful, friendly, adoptable cats. I invite Ann Chasson up to say a few words of thanks.
Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. First off, I'd like to thank Councilmember Cohen for inviting us here today. The Dancing Cat accepts this proclamation declaring December National Cat Lovers Month. We accept this in the name of all the cat rescues and the individuals who are working in San Jose to seek to make cats' lives better. For nearly a decade, the Dancing Cat has served as a rescue partner of the San Jose Animal Care Center. This partnership has allowed us to save hundreds of cats who, through no fault of their own, find themselves in the shelter system. Over these years, we have successfully matched more than 1,600 cats. 50 was from our first year that we were open, and since then it's been over 1,600 cats and kittens. We've matched them with families who cherish them. But our mission extends far beyond adoptions. Each week, we receive countless calls from members of the community, your constituents, seeking help, whether it's support in caring for their own cats or assistance with stray cats in need. With the resources we have and through connections we have cultivated, we do our best to provide assistance and aid. Often this effort helps keep cats out of the San Jose shelter system, ensuring that the cats receive the help they need in a safe environment. This work is not without its challenges, but it's driven by an unshakable belief that every cat deserves compassion, care, and the opportunity to live a life filled with love. On behalf of our dedicated team of staff and volunteers, some of whom are here today, I would like to thank you for this recognition. We share this honor with the many incredible rescue organizations, individual cat rescuers, and cat owners here in San Jose who pour their hearts, energy, and passion into this shared mission, all for the love of cats. Thank you very much.
Thank you. On behalf of the council, I just want to present you with this proclamation signed by every member of the council. We can step over this way. Group photo. Thank you guys for your work. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Appreciate your work. And don't forget your notes there. Councilmember Cohen, stay here. I'd like to also invite Councilmember Candelas to join us here at the podium, and we will recognize and proclaim Hanukkah. Are you speaking first to the council?
Give you an alley-oop and keep it under 2 minutes.
There you go. Good job. Come on in.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and shalom. I'm happy to be here with my council colleague, David Cohen of District 4, to honor a holiday that is special to many in San Jose and observed by millions of people around the world. No, it's not Christmas, although it is starting on the 25th of December. Hanukkah emphasizes the triumph of light over darkness and encourages all of us to have faith that even in the darkest of times, light can and will prevail. And when we face challenges, no matter how dark or daunting, perseverance and hope always shine through. Most importantly, Hanukkah serves as a time for families and friends to come together in celebration, to bask in the joy that comes with the holiday season. I am honored to recognize the diversity and cultural richness of San Jose, and I wish everyone a Hanukkah that is filled with love, light, and peace. I'm also joined by members of the Villages Jewish community from my very own council district. Now I'd like to introduce my colleague to share a few words before presenting the proclamation.
Thank you, Councilmember Candelas. It's great to share the podium with you to recognize Hanukkah this year. Hanukkah represents hope in the Jewish tradition. When things seemed bleak, oil that should have lasted just a day burned for 8 days. While we often are brought down by the division and negativity in our country and community, for many, Hanukkah represents light that prevails over darkness. We light the menorah for 8 days, with the light getting brighter over the course of the holiday. The holiday is a festive one that is celebrated in family homes. People sing songs, eat jelly donuts called sufganiyot, eat potato pancakes called latkes, and enjoy the traditional game of dreidel. So today I've provided dreidels and the chocolate coins gelt for each of the members of the council who are up on the dais. So I hope you enjoy and play some games with your family. Happy Hanukkah, everyone.
Thank you for the chocolate, Councilmember Cohen. Mayor, will you please present the proclamation?
Pleasure. On behalf of the council, I'd like to present you with the proclamation. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much.
Well, Mayor, I'd like to invite Mary to share a few words, if you could, please.
So this is rather an amazing year. On the Jewish calendar, it's 5,785, and yet we will actually celebrate the first day of Hanukkah on the 25th of December. This should not be something that just is considered a coincidence, because many of us are celebrating an amazing holiday over the next 6 weeks, not just for Jews, Catholics, Christians, and many, many other people. San Jose is an incredible community. It is a melting pot of all diverse people, and I am so proud to be able to represent not only the Jewish community, but all of you, and wish you a wonderful and full holiday as you reach out and open your hearts, not only to your family and friends, but to all the people that are around you that need so much. And since we have so much, we should share it with all of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's have a picture. So I went a little out of order, but that's okay. Well said. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Happy Hanukkah.
Thanks.
All right, thank you all very much for the ceremonial items. We are on to orders of the day. Does anyone on the council have any changes to the printed agenda? I'm not aware of any. I don't see any hands. Okay, we'll continue on to the closed session report. Nora? Actually, Jennifer.
Thank you, Mayor. I do not have a report out of closed session today, but the city manager certainly does.
I certainly do. Thank you, Nora. I am very pleased to announce the unanimous council confirmation of Maria Oberg as the new director of the Finance Department. Maria will assume the position on January 5th, 2025. Let's give her a round of applause. As the city's finance director, Maria will be responsible for managing, protecting, and reporting on the city's financial resources to enhance its financial condition for residents, businesses, and investors. The finance department also works in partnership with city departments in the strategic support city service area to effectively develop, manage, and safeguard the city's fiscal, physical, technological, and human resources to enable and enhance the delivery of city services and projects. Maria has 23 years of experience in government finance. She began and spent, on and off, approximately 11 years of her career with the City of San Jose. In 2014, she became the finance director for the City of Emeryville, where she guided and oversaw the city's $34 million operating budget and $380 million capital improvement program, and led Emeryville's Budget Advisory Committee and Budget and Governance Committee. She joined the County of Santa Clara in 2016 as the first County Treasurer Administrator and held several roles. Most recently, she was the Controller Treasurer, where she oversaw a variety of activities and programs specific to county-wide financial operations and served as a liaison between the county, outside operators, auditors, and government regulatory agencies. Maria believes financial integrity is of the highest importance and is set to deliver it for the City of San Jose, and we both share in that belief. It's very important. And I don't think anyone can question her work ethic. She holds a Master of Business Administration from the University of San Diego, a Master of Arts in Political Science from Iowa State University, and a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science from Luther College in Iowa. Before I ask Maria to come up, I want to also thank Drew Corbett for serving in the Acting Finance Director role since August of this year. He did an amazing job of leading and managing the Finance Department while this recruitment was underway. I also want to acknowledge all of the Finance Department employees for their hard work and commitment to our financial standing. Please stand up if you're in the audience, including Drew. Do we have anybody here? There is Drew. There you go. There you go. Come on. Don't be shy. There you go. Thank you. We've got several people here. See, our Finance Department employees are a little shy. Maria is joined today by her husband, Mats Oberg. And Maria, if you'd please come up and say a few words, and thank you again.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, City Manager. I am so grateful to you. I want to thank you for this amazing opportunity to return to my roots as the city's next finance director. I'm very well aware of the privilege and honor this is to serve one of the nation's largest and greatest cities. I'm thrilled. Thank you very much. I know the honor. I am so grateful and so humbled by this privilege. And I want to say a thank you to the finance employees, as shy as they may be, but I know a lot of them. I've worked with them in the past, and I'm thrilled to join you all in the next few weeks. So thank you again, and happy holidays.
Thank you, Maria.
Congratulations, Maria. We're all very excited to work with you in this capacity. Welcome back to the city, and thank you, Jennifer, for running yet another great hiring process. We are on to the consent calendar. I'm aware Councilor Casey would like to pull item 2.14. Are there any other items the council would like to pull from consent? Okay, not seeing any others. Councilor Casey, if you have questions, comments, or a motion on 2.14, go ahead.
Just wanted to get an update on the status of the project. A number of folks in my district have expressed some concern that there's been a delay in terms of its completion, so just an update.
All right, I see our Public Works Director coming down.
Good afternoon and congratulations, welcome. I'm Matt Lesh, I'm Director of Public Works. So in this particular agenda item, this is for the engineering contractor that performs services on multiple large trash capture devices. I believe the project you're referring to is the one on Blossom Hill. We referenced last week, so there's been some contracting challenges that I wouldn't like to go into too many details, but we have, right now we've issued a directed change order that they're beginning to close up that site and with a goal of before the 23rd of December, having that site restored to full traffic. And then we'll have some more information after that about next steps at that location. Additionally, today we're working with the City Attorney's Office about some language that you could share with your constituents in a newsletter, whatever form is appropriate to describe what the story is, what's going on with that project.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, would anyone like to?
I'll move approval of the consent calendar.
Second.
Great, thank you. Tony, do we have any public comment?
None for this item.
Okay, coming back to the council. I don't see any hands. Let's vote.
Please voice vote. It's not allowing me to select vote.
Yeah, I'm actually not able to see the roster if folks are raising their hand, actually.
So just voice vote and we'll try to get that fixed.
Okay, I appreciate it. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, I believe that's unanimous.
Yes.
And yeah, if we are able to reset the system here. I think that would be helpful. Okay, we'll do our best to muddle through here. So on to land use consent, and this is item 10.1A. I believe that's the only item on land use consent. We'll take that up now. If we have a motion or, oh, there we go. Huh. On item 10.1A, anybody want to weigh in? Councilor Dwan?
I'd like to move for approval.
Great, thank you. Second by Davis. Tony, do we have any public comment on land use consent?
Not on this item.
All right, coming back to the council, do you need a voice vote, or are we able to?
We got it.
Voice vote again?
No, we've got it.
You've got it, here we go. All right. Hopefully that's working for everybody.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, we're on to item 3.1, report of the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have a report today. Last week, on December 4th and 5th, the City of San Jose hosted the first ever GovAI, or Artificial Intelligence Coalition Summit at the San Jose Convention Center in partnership with the Center for Public Sector AI and Government Technology. The conference and our work on AI furthers the City Council focus area of attracting investments in jobs and housing and our community and economic development city service area. It's no surprise that San Jose has received international attention for our efforts in implementing guidelines and standards for the responsible use of AI. Our city has always been a hub of innovation and forward thinking. We are committed to creating a clear roadmap for the ethical, transparent, and effective use of emerging technologies. Our city, under the leadership of Khalid Tawfiq from our Information Technology Department, is working tirelessly to shape the future of AI in ways that prioritize equity, innovation, and the well-being of our community. It's also important to emphasize that all technology supporting city operations, including AI, is underpinned by strong security and privacy measures to protect both personal and operational data. This isn't just a best practice, it's a promise to the people we serve. Their trust is the foundation of everything we do, and we pledge to maintain transparency and accountability every step of the way. Further, I am pleased to announce that the GovAI Coalition Summit was a sold-out event bringing together government and employees from 160 local, state, and federal agencies from across the country. The summit benefited our downtown businesses. It brought over 600 visitors to San Jose through government attendees, participating sponsors, and private sector vendors. With the collaboration of the Office of Economic Development and Cultural Affairs, the Information Technology Department was able to promote the Holiday Shop Local campaign and provided discounts to many local restaurants for summit attendees. The dedication of our Information Technology Department team reflects a larger truth about the City of San Jose. That technology isn't just about innovation for its own sake. It's about solving real-world problems, making public sector services more accessible and efficient, and ensuring that all our residents, regardless of their background, can thrive in a digital world. I would like to acknowledge Khalid and our Information Technology Department employees. In fact, if you'd please stand up. If you're here, go ahead and stand up. Don't be shy. And for their dedication to prioritize the protection and safety of our community and the work they've been doing to bring together a nationwide coalition dedicated to creating ethical policies around these new technologies. Thank you very much, Khalid, and the entire IT team.
Thanks, Jennifer, and I'll just add my thanks to Khalid and the team. Really a very impressive gathering. You all should be extremely proud of what your city staff has done. We've built, and under Khalid's vision and leadership, a coalition of over 500 public agencies that are collaborating to use AI responsibly and accelerate the transformation of public service delivery. Also want to thank Stephen Keynes and the Mayor's Office of Technology and Innovation for supporting the team's work, but really just an incredible gathering, and it really helps put San Jose on the map as a leader, which we deserve that recognition because our team's doing such great work to innovate and integrate technology to better serve our residents. I appreciate our city manager, Jennifer McGuire, recognizing the team and being able to spend a day there with you all. I was very impressed with what you all have put together. Congratulations, well done. Let's move on to item 3.3, this is Team San Jose and Convention and Visitors Annual Performance Audit. I see our auditor, Joe Royce, coming down to the box, and we do have a presentation.
Good afternoon, Joe Royce, City Auditor. I'm here with Adrian Perez from my office, and we're here to present our audit of Team San Jose's performance for fiscal year 23-24. We're not moving forward. There we go. Since 2004, the San Jose McHenry Convention Center and several other city-owned facilities have been operated on the city's behalf by Team San Jose. Additionally, since 2009, Team San Jose has operated the San Jose Convention and Visitors Bureau to promote tourism and provide services such as marketing and public relations. The City Auditor's Office, under the terms of the management agreements between the city and Team San Jose, is required to perform an annual performance audit to determine whether and how well Team San Jose met agreed-upon performance targets that are a basis for an incentive payment from the city. Under the terms of the agreement to operate the convention and cultural facilities and the Convention Visitors Bureau, Team San Jose's annual performance is measured across 5 different performance areas. In fiscal year 23-24, Team San Jose met its weighted incentive fee scores across those measures, as well as the Convention Visitor Bureau performance targets. Specifically, Team San Jose exceeded its target in gross operating results, booked 121,800 hotel room nights, had an estimated economic impact of nearly $76 million, held 545 days of events at the cultural facilities, resulting in an occupancy rate of 94%, and received 100% satisfaction ratings on its customer service surveys. And as a result, Team San Jose met its weighted incentive fee targets, as I noted, and qualifies for the incentive fee of $250,000. I want to talk a little bit about fiscal year 24-25 targets, because I've been asked to include that. As approved by Council during the budget process, current year targets include gross operating results of $2.048 million, 117,000 hotel room nights, an estimated economic impact of $78,150,000, theater occupancy rate of 93%, and a customer satisfaction rate of 95%. As I mentioned, those were approved during the budget process and can be fully described in MBA number 25 that was approved last June. Oh, went a little far. We don't have any recommendations in the report. We also do not have a management response. Any feedback received during the course of the work has been incorporated into the body of the report. I ask that you accept the report. I'm happy to answer any questions. Representatives from Team San Jose, as well as the Office of Economic Development and Cultural Affairs, are here as well to answer questions. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Joe. Let's first turn to public comment, Tony.
I have no cards.
No comment. Okay. Going back to the council. I'm not able to click the mic button here. Let me see if does anybody have their hand up? Councilmember Dwan and then Vice Mayor. Go ahead, council member. Okay, Vice Mayor.
Thank you so much for the report. I just want to reiterate what I said during CED committee, and I think that while the numbers have increased over time, and I think it's really great, I think we need to review the performance targets to see if they're really reflecting the desired outcomes. I think it's great to have rooms booked, but it doesn't really give us an idea of what the actual rooms, that were actually providing the TOT and other things. So, it would probably be just a refinement of some of the performance targets that show that this is the revenue, this is the number of rooms that actually were completed, not just booked. So I think that maybe just a little refinement would be helpful as we look for areas of improvement and accuracy. So I thank you so much for the report, and I would move the report.
Second. Great, thank you both. Let's go to Councilmember Dwan next.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. I do have a couple of questions, and I have to agree with Vice Mayor regarding the desire of the outcome. It seemed like the number is not correct or skew. I would like to get the true measurement of these metrics. How do we improve on quantifying these metrics? Is there a process or a way that we can do that?
So I guess I want clarity on the question. Is it clarity on quantifying the metrics or the
Yes.
or the targets or both?
Both.
Well, the measures are outlined in the management agreement with Team San Jose. So any change to those, I assume I defer to the city attorney's office, but it would require an amendment to the agreement. The targets, as I mentioned, are approved as part of the budget process, and so that would be the time to weigh in on that piece. And as I said, it comes through an MBA. I don't know the process. I don't know the process of how the MBA is developed and whether that's communicated with you all or not.
Thank you. And then in 2026, obviously, we're going to have the Super Bowl and the World Cups and a few other events. Now, how do we ensure that we have an update of the influx of activities that we are expecting?
I would ask, there's Nancy. It's someone from OEDCA to take on that one.
Joe, Nancy Klein, Office of Economic Development and Cultural Affairs. We will be bringing to you, as we have, council member, updates on activities leading up to, both in 2025 and in 2026. For example, I think we shared with CEDC that many thousands of rooms are already booked by FIFA, Super Bowl, NCAA. So for FIFA, I believe it's over 7,000 rooms already. So we will continue to update you with that and get your point about how that translates, or you need to know how that translates to actual dollars.
Member, does that conclude your line of questioning?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Councilmember Davis? Oh, I'm sorry. Councilmember Foley, were you next? I can't see on my screen. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Councilmember Foley.
Go ahead, Councilmember Foley, and then we'll go to Councilmember Davis. Go ahead.
Sorry, all prepared, because I know Councilmember Davis will ask my
She's going to steal all your questions.
I know,
you get to go first.
She would. She's been around longer than I have. Just briefly on the 2026 questions from Councilmember Dwan, we do get regular updates at the CED committee, and I think the next committee update we get is February, if I'm yay, I got it actually right. That's fabulous. Just one thing I want to ask, and I asked this in CED, and Joe, you and I have had this conversation about it, is in relation to hotel nights. The hotel nights are showing at 109%, but I know that that isn't the actual occupancy of our beds in any given year, that is a number calculated based on reservations. Can you go into that a little bit for us?
Yes, at a high level, it is hotel room nights booked, and so it's going to be bookings for the current year as well as future years. Yeah, I mean, I think that's basically it. I can't remember the breakdown because I remember we looked at that for you. Oh, Adrian has it right here. So what we were looking at for this past year was of the 109,000 that were included in the performance metric, about just under 30% were for fiscal year 23-24, with the remaining going out all the way out to fiscal year 27-28, where there was about just over 5,600 bookings. So it is bookings as opposed to the actual, room nights.
Okay, thank you. As I requested in CED of Team San Jose, it'd be really great if we could have a separate column, and that would be, these are the actual heads in beds, I think they referred to it, in any given fiscal year. So 23-24, how many people actually stayed? What was our occupancy in our hotels? And another column as what are the reservations down the line? Because I know we already have reservations for hotel space in 2026, and I know NVIDIA is coming back next year, and NVIDIA has already booked the convention center and hotels. So that's future years, future revenue, and what I'd like to see, not in or maybe in the audit or future reports by Team San Jose, which also comes to the CED committee, is a separate column that shows this is how many, what our occupancy is, and this is what our reservations are to differentiate the two. That would be my request.
Thanks, Councilmember. Appreciate that. Okay, now I think I'm going to Councilmember Davis.
Thank you. And I appreciate Councilmember Foley's room nights and hotel questions, as well as everyone's questions. Mine is on the theater occupancy. I note that the facilities were occupied on 545 of available use days, which is 94%, but that the actual detail in the footnote is that we define available days only as Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays within a fiscal year, minus any days that fall within a United States holiday period, which I just think is a strange. First of all, it's strange that it's only Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from my perspective, and then that we're also subtracting out holidays, which is when people travel and would be more able to attend cultural events, and we often have fun things happening on holidays. So I guess in addition to Councilmember Foley's requests and the Vice Mayor's requests and Councilmember Dwan's requests, I would really suggest that the agreement be amended to include more days for these cultural facilities, because I don't understand why we should expect them to be dark for the majority of a week, every single week. And if we need to phase it in to ramp it up to 7 days a week, I think we should do that. But I just don't, it just doesn't make sense to me that 1, 2, 3, 4 of our cultural facilities within a year are really only available, 100 some days a year. That doesn't make sense to me. So I would really suggest, and I don't know if we want to include it in the motion for staff to negotiate an agreement, or an amended agreement. I don't know if we can do that. I guess that would be a question for Nora with this motion, but I would strongly recommend that that be a particular item that gets negotiated in an addendum to the agreement.
Can we give that direction here, Nora? With that encouragement, I suppose. I know many of the bargaining units have contracts. I think Team San Jose has, is it 7 different bargaining units? I believe. 7, that was my understanding. So we have a number of negotiations. They're not all at the same time.
Right.
So I wonder if we could give that to, I think what Councilmember Davis is suggesting is I don't know that we can direct Team San Jose, or at least encourage them to.
Well, we can direct the city manager to pursue an amendment to the agreement.
Okay.
Can we do that today, Nora?
You can do that. We'll work with the city manager's office to see if there's, if that's even something that can be started.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks. Is that okay with the maker of the motion? That's a friendly amendment? Yes. Okay, she's nodding. I don't know who the seconder was.
Were you the second? Who was the seconder?
Did you second?
Councilmember Dwan?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay. You okay with that?
Thank you. I just think that's one sort of low-hanging fruit for us, especially as we go into the 2026, into the budget cycle. For the next MBA is going to include the 2026 6 months, and this may be one sort of low-hanging fruit that we encourage a little bit more activity in those facilities.
I think it's a great point.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councilor Davis. I'll just pick up on it briefly. Completely agree. I think one way of putting it, based on just summarizing what I'm hearing in our past conversation when we did the renewal of our contract with Team San Jose earlier this year, I think we care about both, to oversimplify, heads in beds and butts in seats. And the way to do both without having one pitted against the other, because we have limited capacity for marketing and all the rest, is to build our brand, particularly to make downtown a destination for folks locally and from afar. You could take a city like Santa Cruz, 6% of our population, much more of a destination. Now, they have the beach, I get it. They have the boardwalk, Giant Dipper, and all the rest, I get it. But we have a lot to offer as well. And I think part of what we want to encourage Team San Jose to do, and we'll do this through the budget process next year, is revisit those metrics and make sure we are appropriately incentivizing driving both, because it's a real miss, in my opinion, I think many on this council, as we discussed earlier this year, if we are not building our brand and making our downtown and our cultural venues a destination for the 2+ million people who live in our county, not to mention the broader South Bay, where there is a lot more we can do to drive people here, drive tourism, drive support for local businesses, restaurants, bars, et cetera, in addition to being a destination for those bigger events where people book a flight, book hotel rooms. I think we want both. I think we're looking to Team San Jose and your expertise and the Office of Economic Development to make sure that we don't push you in one direction and sacrifice the other. I don't think we want a zero-sum game. I think we want to get creative. And I do want to recognize Team San Jose, Office of Economic Development, for this year's Very San Jose holiday initiative. I actually think our holiday marketing effort this year is better than last year, and it's been improving over the years, and I get that we're kind of building and iterating, so I appreciate that. I think a lot has to do with the higher level of coordination Team San Jose has brought to the table to get Downtown Association, OED, the airport, other partners to collaborate. Even I know you've called on our team and D3 to get more involved. And so I think really playing that quarterbacking role. I'll also note, I have not yet tried it, but the recent launch of the San Jose Sour, I don't know how many of you have tried this, but in partnership with local proprietors, Vine Hospitality, 10th Street Distillery, Alamitos Vineyards, we're highlighting local businesses, building a local brand that's unique, that's differentiated, that people can get excited about. So I think we need more of that, and I think if we build our brand, we don't have to trade off big events and hotel rooms versus nightly activity at restaurants and theaters. I think we want to figure out how to do both. So I'll look forward to coming back with the MBA and through the process. I think I want to also appreciate, since this is her second to last meeting, Councilor Davis has been really on top of this and asking a lot of great questions, and I just appreciate you digging in and really pushing all of us to think harder about how we're building our brand and bringing people here, both theaters, hotels, big events, small events, all the rest. So I don't know if we have, and Joe, just to confirm, the best place for the council to weigh in will be through the MBA and the budget process. Is that?
For the targets, yes, it would be the MBA process. If there's any sort of amendment, that would be a separate workflow, I'm assuming.
Great, and then for Jennifer Lee, I just want to make sure that the council has enough time, I'm sure we will, but to have a bit of dialogue with the administration as you all come to us with that MBA and suggest some metrics. I think as we try to evolve what we're doing, we're going to probably have questions and maybe want to discuss it a couple of times. If we can do that through the budget study sessions maybe, or?
I think we could do it during the budget sessions. I will say, I do agree with you, Mayor. I don't necessarily think it's how we set the measures, but also what the measures are, which I think is why possible amendments to the agreement are going to be really important, and we can bring those forward any Tuesday. But I think doing that in a way that is more collaborative with the mayor and council. I do think we have a very different business sector economy than what we did pre-COVID. So Team San Jose right now is incentivized to hit not necessarily the mark, but those performance measures we set. And if we want to make a shift with that team, it is telling them to focus on other things, which is really amending the qualified management agreement. So we can start to have that conversation before the budget process really, ends in June.
Perfect. Okay, that sounds great to me. Any other hands? Well, my screen is not working. I don't see any. Okay, we had a motion. Tony, let's vote.
Do we need to do an oral vote, or can you vote?
I'm able to vote. I'm just not able to see anybody's hands.
Okay, motion passes unanimously.
Great, thank you.
During the presentation, we're going to restart your system.
Okay.
So you may be down for a little bit.
Awesome. Let me get us kicked off, and then I'll get out of the way. So as I understand it, we're on to item 3.4, which will be heard concurrently with items 3.5 and 9.1, but voted on separately. So we will start with the staff presentation, and then Nora will make sure that I do the right thing when it comes to the successor agency hearing. Okay, great. So Drew, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, and good afternoon, Mayor Mahan, members of the City Council. Drew Corbett, Acting Director of Finance. With me are Victor Lowe, the Deputy Director of Finance in charge of Accounting and Financial Reporting, as well as Ben Lau from our independent auditor, Macias, Genie, and O'Connell. The item before you is the audited financial statements for fiscal year 23-24. Where am I pointing this? There we go. So as the Mayor mentioned, there are three items that we're combining into one for the purposes of the presentation. Item 3.4, which is the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report, or the ACFR. Item 9.1, which is the financial statements for the successor agency to the redevelopment agency. And item 3.5, which is the report to those charged with governance, which includes our independent auditor's report, the accounting standards that have been implemented over the past year, the audit results, and management's response. So there were a total of, there were a total of almost 20 audit engagements that have occurred since the close of the fiscal year. I'm not going to go through each one of them in detail. This includes our main city financial statement, which is our ACFR. It includes our enterprise funds, like our airport and our wastewater treatment plant. It includes all of our bonds. It includes our retirement-related funds, including our deferred compensation funds, as well as several other smaller funds. All of these items are complete in preparation for today. The only pending item is the single audit, which will occur in early 2025. And with that, I'll turn things over to Victor.
This is item 3.4, Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. The Annual Comprehensive Financial Report, also called AFR, is the city audit financial statement prepared in compliance with the GASB requirement and audited by an independent auditor under government standard. The fiscal year 2024 AFR is 312 pages long and organized into following sections: introductory section, financial section, required supplementary information, and statistical section. The statement of net position shows the city's assets and liabilities remain stable compared with the previous fiscal year. The total net position increased by 195 million, rising from 4.216 billion to 4.411 billion. The next slide will explain the key factors behind this change. This is the statement of activity, which highlights modernist revenue growth primarily from business type activity. Governmental activity, revenues show slight growth in property, TOT, franchise, and utility taxes, with significant increases in interest and investment income. However, sales tax revenue declined, expenses increased, driven by pensions, OPEB, and public safety. Business type activity, revenues grew by 47 million with higher interest and investment income, and 22.3 million increase in airport operating revenue. Expenses rose by 27 million in the clean energy department due to higher electricity costs. This slide covers the GASB pronouncement the city implemented this year. Details on page 55 of the AFR. First one, GASB 99, is also called Omnibus 2022, focuses on the financial guarantees and reporting for derivative instrument, and GASB 100, accounting changes and error correction. Now I will proceed with the overview of the successor agency, which is Sarah's audit financial statement. The statement of a fiduciary net position. The net position shows a significant deficit of 967 million, primarily due to the 2017 senior and subordinate tax allocation bond. Gradual improvement is expected, with full repayments anticipated by August 1st, 2035. Sarah's statement of the changes in fiduciary net position. Overall, the additions, deletions, and changes in net position were consistent with the prior year's amount. We saw a $108 million increase in the net position, bringing the total deficit down to negative $967 million. At this point, I would like to pass the presentation over to Ben Lau, who will provide an overview of MGO's independent auditor's report and share the audit results.
This is Ben Lau from MGO, your external auditor, partner from MGO. So the summary of the audit is we have for all the issued report that is in the previous slide, we have provided a modified opinion, and in other words, it's a clean opinion on the financial statements. And we followed two standards, generally accepted auditing standards as well as government auditing standards. And for this year, there's no emphasis of matters to be reported. Another document, which is a letter or required communication to you all, those charged with governance, is a pretty comprehensive report. There is, I think, 16 sections, and I would highlight 5 of them for you to focus on. The first one is about our responsibility as your internal independent auditors on financial statement audits. The second section is will be the adoption of accounting standard or policy that happened during this year. And as Victor mentioned, during the year, the city implement GASB 99 and 100, and they have no significant impact to the city's financial statements. Another item that I want to highlight is regarding the city's adoption of a policy to establish a rate stabilization fund for the San Jose Clean Energy. So this is something new that has been adopted in, I think, back in August 2024. Another section that I want to highlight is about unadjusted and adjusted audit adjustments. And for this year, the city do not have any reportable audit adjustments, recorded or unrecorded. And another section is about responsibility of independence, and it is a shared responsibility among the city as well as the auditor. And lastly, Drew already mentioned that for the single audit, we expect to issue the financial statement no later than end of Q1, and basically in 3 months' time. And on the next slide, just a quick more like a highlight is for accounting updates. There are 4 future GASB that will be GASB statements that will be implemented. 2 in 2025, GASB 101 and 102, as well as 2 in 26, which is 103 and 104. And lastly, I want to highlight one fact that is like for this year, we do not have any reportable findings that basically that you can see in this report. There is no finding write-up related to internal control over financial reporting as well as compliance. And with that, Drew.
Thanks, Ben. And I'll just quickly tie things up. Just to reiterate what Ben mentioned, we did have no reportable findings for the report to those charged with governance. This is the 3rd consecutive year we've had no new findings, which is an excellent outcome. That's the result of a lot of hard work throughout the city by all staff, as well as robust year-end processes, the use of technology and innovation to make sure that we are staying current with all of our accounting standards, as well as changes to the regulatory requirements and comprehensive training programs we've implemented throughout the city. So in conclusion, our recommendation today is to accept 3 fiscal year 23-24 financial reports. The first one is the annual comprehensive financial report. The second is the report to those charged with governance, and the third is the audited financial statements for the successor agency to the redevelopment agency. That concludes staff's report, and we're available for questions.
Great. Thank you, and congratulations on another favorable audit. Tony, are we able to, since we heard them concurrently, can we take public comment on all three together?
Yes, and
Great.
we have no cards.
No cards, okay. Going back to the council, so we'll go in order, if that's okay with everyone. We can vote on item 3.4, or have discussion on 3.4 first. I see a couple of hands up. I'll start with Vice Mayor Kameh.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for all three reports. You know, I always find the annual comprehensive financial report to have just a tremendous depth and breadth of information. I put in my newsletter with a link so that, you know, others can take a look if you want to take a look, because it really provides the community sort of a layman's person sort of interpretation of the financial, how the city's doing, and all of that. And it just covers so much of an area. It's the kind of thing that I like. So I don't know if it's appropriate at this time. I know you mentioned that we were going to do them separately.
We need to vote on them separately. And for item 9.1, I need to read I believe I need to read. Say a few.
Okay, so I'll wait, but I'd love to move it because I think that it's a tremendously valuable document with a lot of information, and it's good for the community to have, you know, sort of like have the highlights in a very readable form.
Great, thanks for those comments, Vice Mayor. I'll turn to Councilmember Cohen, who may also want to make a motion on item 3.4.
Yeah, I actually we're commenting on all three together though, right? So
yes, we can comment on all of them. I just asked that the first motion just be a vote on 3.4 because I have to read something for item 9.1.
That's fine. Mainly I just want to thank the team. You know, I was trained in my many years of looking at audits as a school board member and others to look at the back page first for the significant findings and say, and that's the most important meat of it. But to have a financial report as complex and detailed as the city of San Jose does and have no significant findings in the audit report is a significant accomplishment. So I just really want to say that how great that is and thank you for that. And with that, I'll go ahead and move acceptance of the comprehensive financial report, item 3.4.
Great. Thank you, Council Member. Tony, let's vote on item 3.4. If we can vote on item 3.4 to start.
Motion passes unanimously.
Great. Okay, thank you. Back to the council. Any comments or a motion on item 3.5?
Second.
Great. Let's vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. Because item 9.1 has to do with the successor agency to the redevelopment agency, we will convene the successor agency to the redevelopment agency. And after we vote on item 9.1, we will adjourn the successor agency to the redevelopment agency. Turning to my colleagues, any further questions or comments on item 9.1 or perhaps a motion? Great. Thank you. Let's vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Great, and we've now adjourned the successor agency to the redevelopment agency. Thank you very much. Thank you all. We are on to, and Drew, thank you for your great work, you and the team. Appreciate it. We're on to item 3.6, Comprehensive Annual Debt Report for fiscal year ending June 30th of 2024.
Good afternoon again. Drew Corbett, Acting Finance Director. With me is Chinyu Sun, our Deputy Director in charge of Debt and Treasury Management. And the item before you is the Comprehensive Annual Debt Report. I'll give a brief overview before turning things over to Chinyu. Our debt management program consists of three main components: debt issuance, debt administration, and financial advisory. We have a number of policy objectives as a part of this program. A few of the key ones include minimizing our debt service costs and issuance costs, maintaining access to cost-effective borrowing, and achieving the highest practical credit rating for the city that we can. And with that, I'm going to turn things over to Chinyu.
Thank you, Drew. Chinyu Sun, Deputy Director of Finance for Debt and Treasury. I would like to report the debt management program as of June 30, 2024. At the last year end, the total outstanding debt for the city was in the amount of $3.6 billion. This is comprised of city's geo debt, a number of lease revenue debt, and then Sarah's tax allocation debt, and a couple enterprise debt from the airport and the wastewater systems. This $3.6 billion does not include the $770 million conduit housing debt the city issued for the affordable housing development within the city. In addition to the long-term debt programs, the city also runs 4 variable rate programs, including the Airport CP program, City of San Jose Financing Authority CP program, and a subordinate revolving line of credit for the regional wastewater facility, and then San Jose Clean Energy credit facility. The total authorized capacity in those variable rate program was at $700 million, and the facility utilized at the year end was about $103 million. During the fiscal year 2023-24, the debt team issued a total of $137 million debt. Majority of the debt, about $80 million of that for housing debt, Parkmore and Dry Creek. The rest are comprised of the 3 short-term variable rate programs, 2 CPs and 1 wastewater revenue note. In addition to the debt insurance, the debt team executed a number of professional service contracts for municipal advisors, and we obtained credit ratings for San Jose Clean Energy at A2 by Moody's and A by S&P. We also completed a request for proposal for a number of services, including arbitrage rebate, private activity consulting services, special tax consultant services, and market absorption consultant services. The city held TAFRA hearings for the housing transactions in general. Last year, we held a total of 7 TAFRA hearings, 2 for the city, 2 for the development, the city finance, 5 for the developments financed by external agencies. The city's geodebt continue to be rated very high. It is AA1 by Moody's, AA+ by S&P, and AAA by Fitch. Our rating is slightly higher than the state of California. We were on par with the county before, but the county was recently, actually in July of 2024, updated by Fitch. So the county's geobonds are rated AAA by both S&P and Fitch. So that makes our geodebt rating slightly lower than the county. Nationwide, the city of San Jose's geodebt rating is ranked number 2, together with Phoenix and Austin. In addition to geodebt rating, the city also maintained credit ratings for a number of other debt, actually other credit names, including San Jose Clean Energy, a number of lease revenue bonds and tax allocation bonds for Sierra, airport bonds, and wastewater revenue bonds. Looking at 2024-25, we have a number of debt issuance. So far, we have actually completed 2. One is the 2024A airport revenue refunding bonds in the amount of $76.4 million. Also, we completed a conduit debt issuance by CCCFA for clean energy project revenue bonds 2024E in the dollar amount about $1.24 billion. Looking ahead, we plan to issue a number of debt, some multifamily housing revenue bonds, and then 2 CP notes, and then also supporting waste revenue notes. When the calendar year turns into 2025, we will evaluate additional issuance of geodebt under Measure T. We originally thought about issuing tax and revenue anticipation note to provide a cash flow funding for the retirement pre-funding purposes, but at this point, we don't think that will be on our work plan. So geobond issuance will be the one to be evaluated in early 2025. In addition to bond issuance, we are also looking at a couple big projects in 2025. Those are including the renewal of the San Jose Financing Authority lease revenue commercial paper letter credit, which is already in progress. So we put the RFP on the market at the beginning of December. We are also looking at issuing the debt management software RFP. This is a plan to happen in January 2025. We will continue working with the departments and developer on the formation of Berry's Community Facility District. The debt team is still continue to be highly active in areas of debt issuance, debt administration, and financial advisory services. The debt team is committed to protect the city's financial interests, credit ratings, ensure compliance with the regulatory requirements, and then lower borrowing costs for the city. With that, we recommend the City Council to accept the CADA report for the City of San Jose in the fiscal year 2023-24, and we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Great, thank you. Thank you both. Tony, do we have any public comment?
Not for this item.
Okay, thank you. Coming back to the council. I don't see any hands up. Colleagues, do we have any questions or a motion? Great. Thank you. Tony, let's vote. I hear folks coming back. There we go.
Motion passes unanimously with Kamei absent.
Okay. Thank you again for the report. We're on to item 8.1, establishment of the Monterey Corridor Business Improvement District and approval to levy assessments in the Monterey Corridor Business Improvement District for the remainder of fiscal year 2024-2025. Let me turn to my script here. Item 8.1 is the public hearing on the establishment of the Monterey Corridor Business Improvement District and the levy of assessments in the bid for the remainder of fiscal year 2024-2025. Before I open the public hearing, has the city clerk received any written protests from affected businesses in the proposed bid?
Yes, written protests have been received from businesses reporting less than 50% of the proposed assessments in the bid.
Okay. So less than 50% of the proposed assessments. Thank you. At this time, we will open the public hearing. And Tony, assume you have some cards?
Yes. When I call your name, please come on down. First person to the microphone, go ahead and go straight to the microphone. The other people can line up behind them. I have Jill Rodby, Dave Lujan, and Irie Stewart.
This one. That's what I have here. Yeah. Thanks.
Is that on? Okay. Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council members. I'm Jill Rodby, and I work for Sims Meadow, which has a large presence on Monterey Road. We've been there for decades. I'm also chair of the Monterey Corridor Business Association, MCBA. I'm here today to ask your support for the bid. The MCBA was formed almost 10 years ago, and ever since then, we've been working on problems in the corridor, including fires, thefts, illegal dumping, illegal RV parking. It's really been a haul. Through the MCBA, though, we have been supported by the city staff, and I want to thank them for that. Our council office, Office of Economic Development, Beautify San Jose, the police department, and on. It's been really a supportive relationship. But I think we need to do more. And the bid will give us an opportunity to offer our businesses increased security above what the city is already doing. We'll be able to offer cleanliness services, graffiti removal, and 80% of the funds will go towards those two items, making sure our businesses are secure and clean. In fact, one of the businesses I was talking to a few weeks ago, she said she lost 60% of her business because of the mess outside on Phelan and Monterey. In addition to the majority of the funds going towards clean and safety, we'll also be looking at increasing the public art in the corridor. We already have several murals on there, and we'd like to see more. We'd like to see it as a destination point. I think, you know, it's not going to be a cure-all, but I think the businesses that did.
Thank you. That's your time. Next speaker.
Hello, thank you. My name is Dave Lujan. I'm Secretary of the MCBA Board of Directors representing Stucco Supply Co. of San Jose. We're a stucco manufacturing company established in 1955. We're right off of Little Orchard Street. We're a $30 million a year business, and we look forward to doing much more business in the future. I initially got involved with the working group over 6 or 7 years ago because I was looking for help and solutions to some of the issues we're all aware of. The clean and safe is definitely our main priority. And what I found was a group of volunteers that we were willing to dedicate themselves to a common cause. We all live, work, and or own property within the guidelines of the MCBA, and we all wanted the same things. Our mission at the MCBA is to help create a vibrant and diverse community comprised of business owners, property owners, residents, and workers. One of our main goals is to create a clean and safe environment for all, and with the support of the council and the community, we hope that our Business Improvement District proposal passes with full support so we may help supplement the city services. Thank you, and thank you for your time and consideration. We are hopeful we have your full support, and happy holidays.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hello, I'm Ari Stewart with JP DiNapoli Companies, and it's my pleasure to represent again another board member from the MCBA. The Monterey Business Corridor is home to San Jose's Central Industrial Core. The industrial jobs it provides are one of the reasons why San Jose is the largest provider of manufacturing jobs per capita in the United States. This is something we should be proud of and be proud of maintaining. Keeping these jobs, though, has become a challenge. As landlords with holdings in the Monterey Business Corridor, we can tell you firsthand the challenges of attracting new tenants to an area with visible blight and the increased stresses that homelessness creates. The Monterey Business Corridor Association will help protect this critical zone by enacting programs that enhance safety and cleanliness, provide additional resources for crime prevention through the use of portable cameras, and supporting the installation of smaller cameras in small businesses. Supporting the creation of the Improvement District will allow many businesses, both big and small, who call the Monterey Business Corridor home, to thrive, and will help attract new businesses to this community. Thank you.
Back to council.
Great, thank you. Since the business owners have supported the establishment of the Monterey Corridor Business Improvement District and the proposed levy of assessments, I will now ask the council to consider approval of the ordinance establishing the bid and adoption of the resolution levying assessments in the bid for the remainder of fiscal year 2024-2025. And I want to thank the board and the members who have organized and worked so hard to get to this point. I'll start by turning to my colleague, Councilmember Dewan, to say a few words.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I want to thank you, Sim Metals, for hosting all the Business Association events and the beautiful mural that you have out there to enhance the aesthetic value on Monterey Road. And I'm looking forward to see more. This is, I believe this is the first, or the second for that matter, in 14 years that we have a BID. It's not only support our businesses because Monterey Corridor connected right downtown. We want to make sure it's clean, it's safe, and aesthetic value, and bring business back to where it should be. and businesses create jobs. And that help our residents to stay right here in our city and keep their family here without having gentrification and many other aspects. I want to make sure that we continue in this endeavor, not only in Monterey Corridor, in Story Business Association, and eventually I would like to create Center Road Business Association and also Silver Creek as well, including the last would be the Tropicana. And I want to make sure that we bind together to support our businesses, support our residents, support our community to be a clean, safe place. And I move to accept this proposal. Thanks.
Great, thank you. For the second from Councilmember Davis. Any other comments? This has been a great year for establishing business improvement districts and empowering our local businesses, local business corridors to self-organize and make the investments in safer, cleaner neighborhoods that will benefit your businesses, but also really benefit the whole city. All of our residents grow the tax base and offer all those benefits the council member mentioned. So again, appreciate the board's leadership and all of the organizing you've done to get to this point. We have a motion. I don't see any other hands. So Tony, let's vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Wonderful, congratulations. All right, our final item before the evening session is item 8.2, which is the Multifamily Housing Incentive Program and North San Jose Parks Fee Realignment. We have a staff presentation, so we'll let the team get into the box here and then we'll jump in.
Okay, good afternoon, Mayor, Council members. Blaga Zalalich, Deputy Director in the Office of Economic Development and Cultural Affairs. And I'm here, joined in the box today by all of the department directors that represent the intercity team that has been working to bring forward this recommendation over the last few months. And that includes our department, Office of Economic Development, Planning, Building, Code Enforcement, Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhood Services, the Housing Department, and the Department of Transportation. So just to bring you a bit of background on why we're here today, we are here today because you directed us to come back to you with a recommendation to unblock multifamily projects throughout growth areas in the city. And this was something that you directed us to do in June when we came forward with the Downtown High-Rise Extension Program. The scope of the project or the potential program was to include applications that were deemed complete by the Planning, Building, and Code Enforcement Department by the end of June 2022. In addition, you directed us to take a look at potential impact fee changes to the North San Jose Park impact fee. So why facilitate housing production? What we have seen based on current economic conditions is that there remains a barrier to construction of new housing. And this was supported in the high-level update that we conducted in 2024 to the cost of development study that was actually brought to you in October of 2023. It's also very evident through this chart that there continue to be barriers to market rate construction specifically. And you can see at this chart in calendar year 2024, looking at multifamily projects with 20 or more units, 0 have started construction. So the intention of this recommendation is really to signify to the market that San Jose is fostering a pro-housing development and wants to encourage that. So we've arrived here today with a recommendation, but these recommendations were not arrived at without significant conversation and significant thoughtfulness because of the balance of multiple objectives of the city. We wanted to, and we needed to, weigh significant concerns in the areas of parks, construction taxes, and housing against, obviously, the need and the desire to build more housing in our city. So some of the things that we wanted to consider were obviously the loss of funds for park development and deferred infrastructure and maintenance with a reduction in parks fees. With any sort of reduction in construction taxes, there might be implications for transportation projects and staffing, as well as the ability for us to match other public and private grant opportunities. But our objective ultimately is to balance the reduction of city costs while still maintaining support for transportation, affordable housing, and parks-related commitments in our city. So to that end, we kind of have a two-pronged approach here with respect to a universe of projects that is 9,633 units, so a total of 35 projects. Those are the projects that had a planning application deemed complete by the end of December 2022. So that's the universe we're talking about. And with respect to those projects, we considered components such as we considered the two components, which is a construction tax reduction and also a reduction of the inclusionary housing in lieu fee. For construction taxes, some of the taxes associated with these projects are in the current projected 5-year capital, and we knew that any reduction could potentially impact some very important transportation-related projects. On the other hand, the city will obviously generate annual property tax revenue, utility user tax revenue, as well as sales tax and business license tax in those projects that are in mixed use configurations. So one more point that we wanted to bring to you before actually putting the recommendation out is that the Housing Department conducted very specific analysis of 6 projects, 3 market rate projects and 3 affordable projects in order to be able to help us to kind of correctly size this recommendation. And in that analysis, 2 of the things that we have kind of made sure is that the monthly affordable rents at 100% AMI, which is what we're going to be producing, still remain lower than market rate rents for any average San Jose household of 3. Also, based on our analysis, we're anticipating more affordable units will be developed from the fee waiver approach than could actually be supported if the money was collected from the city and then redistributed to projects in the form of assistance. So in that, we anticipate that at least 2 of the projects that were analyzed will be catalyzed to move forward with construction in 2025 based on the recommendation that we are bringing forward. Okay, so for the recommendation, this is what we are talking about. We're talking about a minimum density of 50 plus DU per acre. The geography of the projects are all in designated growth areas. There is 1 project that is proximate to a designated growth area. And we are proposing a 2-phased approach for construction taxes. In phase 1, there will be a 50% reduction in the building and structures tax and the commercial residential mobile home park tax for up to the first 1,500 units that also obtain a building permit by December 31st, 2025. After that, there remains about 8,100, actually 8,133 units to be exact, on the list of eligible projects, and they would receive a 25% reduction in the building and structures tax. With respect to the inclusionary housing fee, the proposal is to reduce that in lieu fee to 0 as long as the developer builds 5% of units at up to 100% AMI on site. And in some cases, there have been a higher level of obligation that have already been negotiated. Those higher levels of obligation would stand. We are proposing that payment for construction taxes would be made at the time of first certificate of occupancy, so a little bit later on in the process rather than at building permit. And this is not an unlimited horizon program. So the projects on the eligible projects list that you had actually updated in the supplemental memo that was released yesterday have a max of 4 years from the time of their initial entitlement. And that is 2 years by virtue of their initial entitlement, and then developers are able to ask for 2 additional 1-year extensions. So I think on that list, you've got the latest entitlement for a project is in 2029. So that's in essence when the projects would, or the horizon would sunset. The second portion of the direction from council in June was to look at the North San Jose park fee. And what staff is proposing here is a realignment in the park fee. The current San Jose MLS, North San Jose MLS 7B park fee is $41,600 per unit, which is almost double that of the next highest park fee in the city. And that is because of the way that park fees were determined based on land value at the time that this analysis was done back in 2017, actually. Affordable units or affordable projects receive a 50% reduction in their park fee, and then just like market rate units, they are also able to achieve an additional 50% reduction in their park fee through private recreation credits with private amenities built on site. So what we are proposing is a realignment of the North San Jose park fee down to $22,600 per unit, which basically brings it in line with the next highest fee, which is the multifamily fee for downtown, MLS 9. So still the highest fee in the city, but aligned with the next highest citywide. There'd be no change in how the affordable projects are handled here. We have had stakeholder outreach and engagement over the last 3 months. So with labor leadership in September, October, and December, with the development community in September and November, including the Developer Roundtable that's hosted by PBCE, as well as the Chamber's Land Use Committee, and then with stakeholder advocates in transportation and housing and parks in September, and we presented at a meeting that was hosted by Councilmember Cohen in October. And with that, we are all here to entertain any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for the report, all the work that went into it, and the recommendations. Let's go to Tony for public comment. How many comment cards do we have?
21.
Okay. We'll go ahead and stick with our usual time allocation.
Okay, when I call your name, please come down. First person on the microphone, go ahead and speak. The other people, we have reserved seating in the front row. You can sit in that front row while you wait your turn. If you need interpretation, the interpretation is automatic. It shows up on the screen and on screen 2 of the dais. And the software will automatically pick your language of what you're speaking. Let me start with Armando Murillo, Renee Baez, Matt Berwardis, and Harvey. If you guys can come on down. And you have 2 minutes. You have this podium timer and then a timer displayed on the screen.
One more time. Good afternoon, Mayor and fellow council members. Again, my name is Armando Murillo, lifelong resident of San Jose. I'm a field representative for the Northern California Carpenters Union at Local 405, which covers the South Bay. Thank you for this opportunity to address the council regarding development projects which receive subsidiary funding from our city. First and foremost, I cannot stand by and support the incentive which gives to developers and deprives workers. As a carpenter deeply invested in our city, I find it appalling that a developer or contractor would try to undermine the health and welfare of its workers, their families, and the community where they seek to do business and gain profit. We want to see much needed housing built, but this incentive is a public subsidy that normally legally triggers stronger labor standards, including prevailing wage. Workers in the residential construction industry are typically paid low wages with minimal or no benefits. This is usually the result of contractors and developers who seek out loopholes in order to avoid paying area standard wages and benefits to its workers, which in turn, either by design or through common practice, leads to abuse and illegal employment practices such as misclassification of workers, paying under the table, ignoring health and safety requirements on the job. Recently, U.S. framing CEO Thomas English has been charged by Attorney General Bonta with 31 felonies for alleged wage theft and tax fraud committed on over a dozen California projects. He is currently out on $500,000 bail and awaiting prosecution. By allowing entities to conduct business here in San Jose in a less than honorable way and to take advantage and to exploit our workers, we are showing our community that we do not honor their best interest. So I'm urging my city council to move time forward and allow for continued.
That's your time. Next speaker. I'm also going to call down Francisco Saleda and Rigo Gallardo.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Matt Bernardis, Development Manager at Urban Catalyst, and I'm here to express strong support to approve staff's recommendation for the Housing Incentive Program. At a time when we have over 10,000 units of stalled projects, this timely program provides a last-mile push to get projects over the finish line in a very complex financial environment. We are hopeful that this program will have a catalytic effect on the finance of multiple projects in our preset growth areas throughout the city and signal to the capital markets for both debt and equity that San Jose is a safe place to invest capital. We appreciate staff's incredible work working with multiple departments to come up with a solution that meets the market and achieves the city's production goals at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hi, my name is Harvey McKeown, and I'm here from the NorCal Carpenters Union. And I just wanted to start by saying, we do appreciate the work of the city staff on this. There's been a lot of thoughtful work. And fundamentally, our union does support the need for how to build housing. But we feel there's a way to do it and incentivize it in a manner that is not neglectful to working people. The portion of the San Jose Municipal Code that means a public subsidy should beget prevailing wage was passed in 2019 with strong political support in the city and also support from the public. This same portion of the municipal code also states that a financial feasibility study should be undertaken with an opportunity for stakeholders to have meaningful input. As the largest single organized voice in construction, the carpenters certainly meet the criteria of stakeholder. But we only spoke to the city this year about the incentive once the financial feasibility study had been completed. So I'm a little confused how this portion of the municipal code has been truly faithfully complied with. The financial feasibility study, in any case, is flawed, we believe, and should not really give legal cover to depart from prevailing wage requirements. There's a way to build housing that helps the people that build it. Many construction workers and their families are already in an economically precarious situation enough as it is. And some of the developers that will benefit or potentially benefit from this incentive read like the who's who of developers that care little about working people. The Pacific companies, for example, sometimes known as Pacific West, is one of those developers. In April 2024, the DIR found that they failed to comply with prevailing wage requirements. Please consider construction workers and
Thank you. That's your time. Next speaker. I'm also going to call Eli Robles and Oscar, it looks like Mariegos. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council members. My name is Francisco Salcido. I'm with the NorCal Carpenters Union, Local 405. I come here today to say I cannot support this proposal. It deprives and hurts our workers while only helping developers. The city has let developers ignore labor standards, standards that help our workers and families. However, I do support housing development. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, Mayor Mahan and members of the San Jose City Council. My name is Rigo Gallardo. Thank you for the opportunity to address you today. I'm a unit representative with Local 91-44-405, born and raised in the Evergreen area. I'm here to raise concerns regarding compliance with Chapter 1410 of the San Jose Municipal Code, which governs financial feasibility, study for exceptions from prevailing wage requirements. The code clearly states that these studies must include an opportunity for all stakeholders' input during the preparation. To our knowledge, this critical step was not fulfilled. The financial feasibility study in question was published on September 27, 2024, yet our organization was not contacted by the city until October. This delay denied us the opportunity to provide input which we would have used to counter the consultant's findings that prevailing wage is financially infeasible. Last year, the responsible contractor ordinance was tabled until January to allow all parties to collaborate and reach a fair outcome. We ask for the same consideration here. Prevailing wage protections are vital for ensuring workers are fairly compensated, and a transparent collaborative process is essential to maintaining public trust. We respectfully urge the council to table this item, revisit the study, and fully engage in all stakeholders in accordance with municipal code. Let's work together to find a solution that prioritizes fairness and transparency. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker. Also Allison Singolani, come on down.
Good afternoon, Mayor Mahan and City Council members. My name is Oscar Mazariegos. I'm a field representative with the Carpenters Union 405. Represent over 37,000 members in the Northern California region, more specifically the 4,000 plus members here in the area of San Jose. Let me start off by saying that about 70% of a project is done by carpenter covered work. The NorCal Carpenters Union does not support this incentive, which gives the developers but deprives workers. The NorCal Carpenters wants to see housing built, but this incentive and a public subsidy that normally legally triggers strong labor standards, including prevailing wage. Instead, the city has decided to let developers ignore these labor standards. Some of the developers who will potentially benefit from developers' city-free waiver incentive programs reads like this: who's who of developers that care little about working people. The Pacific Company, sometimes known as Pacific West, is one of those developers. In April 2024, the DIR determined that the Pacific West had failed to comply with legal prevailing wage requirements in this project in Santa Cruz. At the federal level, this is also at least one currently open unfair labor practice investigation pending against Pacific West builders. And even though the concrete may be union, the rest of the projects will not. Please protect construction workers and their families by upholding labor standards. Do not pass this incentive as it is currently written. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Ladies and gentlemen of the San Jose City Council, I stand before you today to address the critical issue concerning the incentives programs for construction projects receiving city subsidies. These projects are mandated to pay all workers prevailing wage rates, which require apprenticeships and prioritize local hires. The waivers of these requirements are based on assumptions and lacks data. I urge the council to delay deciding on the incentive programs until a thorough study involving stakeholders' input can be conducted to include prevailing wage within the program. The intent of the state legislature regarding residential construction labor standards is clear: This incentive program, as it stands, undermines these standards, effectively taking away from workers to benefit developers. The lack of labor standards exacerbates an already difficult situation for local workers. Data shows that half of construction trades households in Santa Clara County and nearby San Mateo counties are below the low income and very low income AMI income bands, qualifying them for affordable housing. Furthermore, California construction workers are nearly 3 times more likely to lack access to health care insurance compared to other workers in the state. Now more than ever, it is time to protect our workers. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Next speaker. I'd also like to call down Manuel Salazar and Umbello Nova. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. Allison Singalani, Director of Policy with SV at Home. We've been actively engaged with city staff and appreciate the detailed work that they're doing on this program. We also really value the conversations that we have had with many of your offices in the past couple of weeks about our concerns on the MHIP and about our alternative proposal. We support incentives for targeted projects that are stuck in the pipeline in this environment, and also acknowledge that the IHO is a critical tool for the city to meet its RENA and affordable housing commitments, especially for its most vulnerable residents, those earning well below 100% of the area median income. We believe it is possible to both provide incentives for growth and preserve some of the significant public benefit of the IHO. We believe there is value in signaling to the market, but we need to be really mindful about the cost of that signal. So we propose a phased approach, that the staff recommendations apply to the first 1,500 units in the eligible project list that also obtain a city building permit by December 31st, 2025. The same timeline staff has proposed for phasing construction taxes back in. This would allow any development that could benefit from the proposed incentives to move forward quickly. After that time, we propose a choice of 2 significantly reduced options to capture public benefit for the remaining developments. Option 1 would be 5% of units at very low income, which would open access to the state density bonus law while providing units at a greater depth of affordability. State density bonus law offers regulatory relief and cost savings for developers at no cost to the city. Or a second option of in lieu fees reduced 65 to 75% discount from current fees. I know you all have the details of that proposal in your inbox, so I thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, also Eric Schadauer and Jaime Vasquez.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Manuel Salazar, and I'm speaking on behalf of SV at Home. And today, I'm representing a coalition of affordable housing developers, including EAH, PATH, and Abode. Let me start by saying that we appreciate Council's efforts to address San Jose's housing needs and understand the intent behind the proposed Multifamily Housing Incentive Program, or MIP, to incentivize market rate housing by waiving inclusionary housing ordinance in lieu fees for projects setting aside 5% of units at 100% AI or median income, or AMI. So while we recognize the importance of encouraging market rate developments, we are concerned that this proposal would undermine critical resources needed for affordable housing. The IHO fees generated by San Jose's existing program have become increasingly vital for funding 100% affordable housing projects, with, for instance, from 2020 to 2023, the IHO raised over $50 million, funds that have been essential in creating permanent supportive housing units here in the city of San Jose. Because of this, we urge the City Council to reconsider its proposal approach and adopt SV at Home's alternative, which Allison just outlined. But in case you didn't catch that, our proposal is applying the proposed incentives to the first 1,500 units in eligible projects that obtain a city building permit by December 31st, 2025. And the other thing being that we'd like to see the remaining developments having basically 2 options. Option 1 being a set aside of 5% of units at VLI income levels, which would enable projects to access the state density bonus, which opens up concessions, waivers, and other such benefits to the developer at no cost to the city. And option 2, applying a targeted discount of 65 to 75% off to the current inclusionary housing ordinance in lieu fees, which would reduce the fees from $21 to $7 in moderate market and $49 to $11 within the high market areas. With that said, I thank you for your time, and I hope you will seriously consider our recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Thank you for letting me speak tonight. My name is Humberto Nava. I'm a field representative for the Carpenters Union here in San Jose. I am here to express my position to the multifamily housing incentive program, opposing it, and let me explain. I applaud the efforts for the city is doing trying to boost the housing stock to help mitigate the housing crisis we have been going through. But I also think that on behalf of the carpenters and residents of San Jose and Santa Clara County, we need to be thoughtful about the compromises the city will make in diluting labor standards and the protections for the workers. This will have an impact on creating good paying jobs for the working men and women in the area. People in San Jose are counting on you to create those work opportunities, so they can go to work and provide for their families. Let's not let them down. I urge you to pause it until comprehensive talks have take place, and we must make sure that not only housing is created, but also good jobs and real benefits for the workforce are guaranteed. I also heard there is a contractor that's going to be supporting the project. Just want to make clear that it's a very small portion of the project, so let's create work opportunities for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker. Also, Genaro Diaz, Scott Yaudel, and Kat Angelou.
Good evening, or good afternoon, Mayor Mahan, member of the council. My name is Eric Schoenauer. First, want to thank city staff for extensive research, number crunching, and extensive outreach to come up with this proposal. No matter how you characterize the situation, the city has a significant problem with housing production. And whether you consider it the numbers off target, or underperforming, a crisis, emergency, a 911 5-alarm fire, it's all of these things. And the facts, which are in your staff report and on the screen now, this is a staff report. 0 new large multifamily projects started construction in San Jose this calendar year. 0. To my knowledge, that's the first time in modern history that has ever happened. Item 2.12 on your consent calendar was the annual performance review of the general plan, which is disappointing that was just stuffed on consent. You should have had a study session on this. In that annual performance review, it noted that last fiscal year, the city only issued building permits for 2,674 housing units total. That includes ADU, affordable, everything. Your RENA requirement is to produce an average of 7,775 units per year. You're 5,000 units short just last fiscal year. So I don't know how you're ever going to meet the state law to produce enough housing if you don't take every action within your power to incentivize and induce housing production in our city. So I hope you'll support the staff recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, Mayor Mahan and members of the City Council. My name is Jaime Vasquez, and I'm also a field representative for the NorCal Carpenters Union, Local 405, to express our strong opposition to this initiative, which unfortunately prioritizes the interests of developers at the expense of the hardworking men and women who built our communities. While we are committed to seeing housing built in our region, the initiative undermines the strong labor standards that we depend on. Standards like prevailing wage, which ensures that the workers are paid fairly and treated with dignity. By allowing developers to bypass these standards, the city is taking dangerous steps backwards. Instead of uplifting workers, this initiative would make an already difficult situation even worse for construction families. Consider this, 25% of construction workers lack any form of health care, often relying on overcrowded emergency rooms and free clinics for basic care. Meanwhile, half of all construction workers in California are enrolled in a safety net program like Medi-Cal or SNAP. These programs already cost taxpayers more than $5 billion every year. By weakening labor standards, this initiative will only increase the burden of these already strained safety net programs, making it even harder for workers and their families to get by. This is not just a matter of fairness, it's also a matter of physical responsibility. Passing this initiative is currently written will only push more workers into reliance on programs that taxpayers are already funding at unsustainable levels. I urge you to consider the workers who are building the city, the families who depend on them, and the taxpayers who foot the bill for these programs. We cannot support an initiative that leaves our community behind. Please do not pass this initiative as it stands. It is not only in the best interest of our workers, our family, or our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, I'd also like to call Dolores Rodriguez and Ryad Cotwin. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor and City Council members. My name is Genaro Diaz, and I represent Carpenters Local 405 here in San Jose. I stand before you today as a byproduct of San Jose and know what it is to come from a working class family from East San Jose. I ask you to please consider construction families today. The hard work that they put in every day just to be able to live here in this city. Please do not consider this incentive as it's currently written. Instead, let's remember that we need to be steadfast in developing families before developers in this city, because not everybody gets a chance at the end of the day to have a leg up. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon. Kat Angelov, Policy Manager for the San Jose Chamber of Commerce. I'm speaking today in support of the Multifamily Housing Incentive Program. Supporting policies and programs that support new housing starts has the added effect of supporting business. And right now we do need to also think about the business community. At a time when new housing starts are decreasing, or as Eric showed, not starting at all, due to the unease in capital markets and high cost of construction, this proposal will aid in the groundbreaking of currently entitled projects that need additional support to come to fruition. Housing starts have slowed tremendously in the last 2 years, and San Jose is on pace to add little, if any, new housing in the coming years. This, in light of the work that the city council members and numerous housing advocates have done to put in the state-approved housing element last year. Creating the incentive program will make a difference for several already entitled housing proposals, both market rate and affordable. We thank city staff for creating the tiered program for construction taxes, which would encourage an immediate effect in housing proposals to move forward. The Chamber commends the efforts of city staff, particularly the Office of Economic Development and Cultural Affairs, in putting this program together. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, Mayor Mahan and members of the council. Scott Udall with the Hanover Company, speaking in support of the staff-recommended incentive program. 14 months ago, this council conducted a study session on the feasibility of new housing in San Jose. That study concluded that the construction of new multifamily housing, unfortunately, was not economically feasible. A conclusion that we begrudgingly had to agree with as we were working on a development project here in the city that at the time could not attract equity nor debt. Since that session, 14 months ago, the city has seen 0 large multifamily construction starts. But this incentive program is a critical step to finally reverse that trend. We represent 2 of the 34 projects on this impacted list, and I'm pleased to relay that we have capital commitments for both of our projects, representing 742 housing units that could break ground next quarter. But critically, both commitments are contingent on this incentive program passing today. I want to thank the staff for their extensive efforts, analysis, and outreach to bring this package to you today. Not just the efforts of economic development and housing, whose leadership on this matter has been evident over the last many months and the year, but all the departments who have critically thought through and signed off on the financial framework to make new housing underwrite again in the city. Thank you for your time, and I'm sure we all look forward to seeing new multifamily construction return to San Jose in 2025. Thanks.
Thank you. Next speaker. I'm also calling down Steve Lynch, Mark Jones, and Anthony Montez.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor and City Council. My name is Riyad Katwan, and I represent Republic Urban Properties and its affiliated entities per the attachment on the report. The staff did a fantastic job in laying everything out, and we're definitely in support of this temporary reduction in affordable housing construction tax, parkland impact fees. As a real-world example, our project, our Sonoma project in Midtown, saves about $13 million, which is about a 56% savings if we apply what you're proposing today. Please note that while these are excellent fee waiver incentives, 1 year window to pull building permits is not enough time due to the current state of the capital markets. Projects that we're working with, public jurisdictions such as Valley Transportation Authority that have both prevailing wage requirements and PLAs in certain situations should be further incentivized. Our Blossom Hill and Tamian project both have separate affordable housing projects which alleviate the in lieu impact fee, but however, due to the PLAs and the high labor costs, we actually spend 20 to 30% more in construction costs. So we would suggest that you support the staff's recommendations report. We appreciate what staff has done, and we just need more time. I'd like to see if we can extend this program through the December 2027, especially when you have a project that involves a partnership with a public entity such as Valley Transportation. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Dolores Rodriguez, and I'm with the Conco Companies, speaking in favor of the incentive program. Conco is a union concrete subcontractor. Historically, the South Bay has been a big part of the projects that we do. Under normal years, it would be normal for us to have 20 projects going on in the South Bay. However, we haven't seen any multifamily starts in the last 18 months. We're starting to see a glimpse of a bright side, however. We've recently been awarded the Trimble project, which was on the slide and would benefit from the program. And we're bidding another project in San Jose. But both of these projects are only scheduled to start if the fee incentive passes. We're hopeful that with programs like this, more multifamily will start in 2025. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker. I also have 3 cards with no names on them, so if you filled out a card but did not put your name on it, you're allowed to do that. Go ahead and come down to the first row and take a seat and wait your turn.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Steve Lynch with Sand Hill Property Company. I'm Director of Permitting and Entitlement for our company, which puts me on the forefront of seeing which projects are moving forward and which projects are stalled out in our company. We actually have 2 projects on staff's list, one of which is a mixed affordable project coming back to you later tonight, a project we have been fighting over and over this last year to try to get to make work out. And we have a second project on the list, which is 237 units at Kirtner and Highway 87, which is 100% affordable, and there's no path forward financially for that project. At this point, that project is stalled out. We've done everything we can do to find dollars, and there's just no dollars available. So anything that can be done to help stick some of these affordable projects, we need to do that here tonight. We've been working on this for almost a year now. There's calls for more financial studies. I mean, we can send staff back to do 3, 4 more studies pro formas. We can have staff do some more outreach meetings. And frankly, I don't think a new magic solution will pour out of any additional financial study, and it's just wasting staff's valuable time. So I'd encourage you to support staff's recommendation if you want 2025 to look different than 2024, which had 0 housing starts. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Anthony Montes. I'm the Associate Director of Advocacy and Development at the Silicon Valley Bicycle Coalition. We're a nonprofit with the mission of creating healthier and more just communities by making bicycling safe and accessible for all. And I'm here to speak against the implementation of the multifamily housing incentive program and North San Jose Park fee realignment policy. Our communities are in deep pain. We're going through an affordability crisis where people are spending upwards of 50% of their monthly income on rent. When you add transportation, we're probably seeing somewhere close to 60%, just for the basics. We have to address this crisis, and I applaud the city for making an attempt at it. But this policy is not the solution. The staff report lacks concrete data or metrics to support the claim that these incentives will effectively increase our housing supply and make our communities more affordable. We do know the policy directly impacts the Traffic Capital Improvement Program, reducing funding for essential projects, including capital projects for major roadways and our Vision Zero priorities. The city's plan, after offsets from grants, still leaves a $4.6 million hole in DOT's budget, jeopardizing critical street safety improvements in historically marginalized communities. These are just projections. It could be much more. The proposals risk placing our communities in danger by stalling vital street safety projects and our Vision Zero priorities. In the from 2012 to 2023, the city has averaged around 50 traffic deaths per year. And this policy takes resources and tools away from San Jose DOT to change the built environment and make our streets safer and more accessible. With respect to the inclusionary housing ordinance, we support Silicon Valley at Home's proposed amendments. In closing, we commend San Jose DOT's work. We want to see them do more and to implement their Vision Zero. We ask that the council not force our communities to choose between housing and street safety. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker. I also received a card for Harry Neal. Come on down.
Council member, my name is Kenneth Doe, field rep for 405. I didn't come prepared to speak, so proud resident for 40 years. On behalf of the NorCal Carpenters Union, we firmly stand against any incentives that benefits developers over workers. These developers will never do the right thing. With your leadership, we could send a message to the developers that we will not stand for the exploitation of workers so they could profit. When you break it down, it's like, are you gonna choose profit over people? I hope you guys choose people. And another thing, right? Most of the work we get, the farm work, right? Conco was here, that's great, they're union. Let's not forget of the rest of this, union work, right? Let's get a bill done right. Let's go, we just want labor standard in this. Thank you for your time and opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, Council, Mayor. My name is Mark Jones. I work for MDE Electric. I'm the president of MDE Electric. I'm here in support of the fee reduction proposal. I looked at the list. There's probably 12 to 15 of the jobs that we've either estimated or are going to estimate. A couple we've actually have commitments on that we will be the constructor if they go forward. That'll employ 40 to 50 electricians, union electricians. It's been a long time since any work has started in San Jose, and we look forward to giving it a chance to get going again. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. My name is Harry Neal, but I guess you know that already. The core of this conversation is how can we lower the cost of building housing? It is clearly too expensive right now for factors outside of our control and for some factors in our control. To be frank, I don't know whether the policy being proposed today is the right thing to do. But I do know that there are other policy levers that we can pull that we should absolutely be pursuing. Things like pre-approved designs for anything from small starter homes up to small apartment buildings. Those, it's not the main factor in costs, but those are ways that we can help accelerate housing production and lower costs. Things like expanding the kinds of housing available to build in different areas through zoning reform, general plan amendments, such like things like that. Potentially reducing fees for any pre-approved designs or construction projects within certain zones that we want to incentivize, like, for example, around light rail stations. These are things that we can certainly pull levers on, and we should absolutely be looking closer into. Thank you.
Is there any other speaker? I have 2 anonymous cards that didn't come down. If they're not coming down, I'll go back to council.
Okay. Is there anybody? Did you have a comment? Come on down. That's fine. Come on down. This is on this topic? Okay. Is it on this incentive program, sir?
Hi. My name is Mike Lerner. I live in San Jose. I was going to talk about clean streets because I think it's appalling what we're doing.
This is about item 8.2. You can
What's that?
speak. This is on the incentive program that everybody else just spoke to, item 8.2. Otherwise, you'll have to wait for open forum.
Ah, okay, on that. That's what I wanted to talk about. Okay, I'm completely uninitiated to the issue here. This is the first time hearing it. Okay, and somebody cites 0 housing starts, 0 building starts. And what that says to me is it's a lockout. It's union busting. Don't go along with it. These guys deserve what they make. I know. I'm a handyman. I go after these guys into the buildings that they've built, and I see what they can do, okay? You need them. Please, don't cut them out.
Back to council.
Okay, did we have any other comment cards, Tony?
Not on this topic. I have a couple for open forum.
Okay, no, we're not at open forum. Okay, great. Thank you. I want to just thank everybody who came out to speak, heard a lot of good arguments and respectful debate from both sides of the issue, and we appreciate that. And I know a lot of people have other things they could be doing with their time today, so thank you for taking the time to be here. We'll get deep into some of these issues now. Just before I turn to colleagues, I did just want to ask staff, and it may actually be Nora who can best answer this, about this, just to clarify our Muni code on the definition of a city subsidy and when exemptions are allowed. I heard some comments earlier in public comment to that effect. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page about the definition of a subsidy and when exemptions like this are allowed. So I don't know, Nora, would you be best to speak to that? Just make sure we're all on the same page about our rules? Or should I turn to Blage? What do you prefer?
Either way, I can, and I don't know if staff wants to, but I can certainly explain it.
Why don't you go ahead, Nora?
Okay. Under our Muni code, there are different provisions for what constitutes a subsidy, but in this case, it's a fee or tax reduction applied uniformly to all private construction projects within a specified subcategory of use. And so in this case, it would be the multifamily housing throughout the city. And that subsidy would generally mean that the minimum wage, prevailing wage
would be triggered based on Muni code.
Correct. If it's infeasible, if the council determines it's infeasible for the project to move forward, and there are things that the council will need to do, and staff's recommending that those steps be followed, then the project's considered financially infeasible, which affects whether or not those wages have to be paid.
Okay.
And so, Mayor,
and
if I could
Blage,
just
yes, if you want to add to that, and then I had one other question, and then I'm going to turn to colleagues. Go
And
ahead.
so then just following up on what Nora said, that was the basis, for, not the basis, but that was the reason that we did the significant and substantial study in October of 2023. We brought that to a study session here that showed that all of the prototypes across the city were in fact infeasible based on the development costs.
Yeah.
And then what we did in order to kind of double check that conditions, we knew anecdotally that conditions had not improved, but we went back and those consultants reviewed 4 or 5 parameters: hard costs, sale prices, rental prices, and the return on cost that the markets were looking for with projects, and they updated the study to show that conditions had not gotten better, and in some cases had gotten worse, and so the projects remained, or the prototype projects remained infeasible.
Thanks for clarifying that. Just wanted to make sure we all started with that grounding in our policy. And then the other question I had just before we dig further in was around outreach. We obviously have enjoyed a long-standing constructive working relationship with NorCal Carpenters, who are represented well here today, as well as all of our building trades, and do want to make sure that we're engaging stakeholders from private and private sector, our building trades, nonprofit sector, other stakeholders, and just wanted you to reiterate. I know it was, I saw a slide on it in there, but if you could just reiterate how we approached outreach, including specifically to the building trades, I think that would be helpful.
Sure. We did have a number of meetings on the slide. We noted the meetings with the Working Partnerships leadership in September and 2 meetings in October. And the NorCal Carpenters, there was some representation in the 2 meetings in October. And there have been additional discussions. I know that our housing director has had one with their leadership. So we have been in communication. We understand, their concerns, and we've been try to address them.
Yeah, it doesn't mean we're always going to agree, just as we on the council don't always agree, but I want to make sure, and there may be follow-up questions, but that we do feel that we followed a robust process for at least making sure stakeholders were aware that we were considering this. Okay, those are the 2 topics I just wanted to get out early on the table, and let me turn now to Councilmember Davis to start things off.
Thank you. I want to first thank everyone for coming out to comment on this item today. I think we all want the same thing, which is to have building restarted, especially residential building restarted in the city of San Jose. Having 0 new units, having started construction this year, and it sounded like 14 or 18 months, it may actually be quite a bit longer than just this calendar year. We really need to kickstart that construction and make sure that there are more construction jobs available in our city. I do want to thank staff for working together as one team. I know there are a lot of departments represented here, and I know that there was a lot of discussion about this item, so I do really appreciate you creating this program and working together to do that. I especially want to thank Eric Sullivan for delving very, very deep into the details and helping us to understand what those details were, and to the developers who opened up their pro farmers to let Eric in on those details was very helpful for us, and I really appreciate that. And to the carpenters, I just want you to know we want everyone in construction to be fairly paid, and that's why we have the responsible construction ordinance. So every project on this list, I just went back to the ordinance to make sure every project on this list that doesn't have a PLA will be under the responsible construction ordinance, which means no outstanding wage theft judgments there can be no outstanding wage theft judgments for subcontractors on these projects. They have to satisfy those outstanding wage theft judgments before they can be signed on as a contractor to a new job. So this will be a test of that, but I do want you to know that is something that we passed actually almost exactly a year ago. It was in January, and that will be in effect for all of these projects. And so with that, I would like to acknowledge Councilmember Cohen's memo, which just says to approve staff recommendation. And I hope he's okay with us moving our memo, which is the memo written by the mayor, myself, and Councilmember Candelas.
Thank you, Councilmember. Appreciate those comments and your work on this. And there was a second from the Vice Mayor. Thank you. Okay. Let me turn to Councilmember Ortiz next.
Thank you, Mayor. First off, I just want to thank our staff, who are from multiple teams, who built a coalition to bring forward this proposal. I also appreciate the briefing that we had earlier this week. I can appreciate that a lot of thought has gone into the ways that our city can address a challenging environment for development and spur-needed construction for market rate units. And I think this exercise is extremely important and one that we definitely should participate in. That being said, I hold serious concerns that the staff recommendation makes sacrifices that benefit our community, especially including funding for community priorities such as affordable housing and transportation improvements for questionable results. In almost every single one of my meetings with the public regarding development, the number one concern that they have, especially on the east side, is traffic and what sort of transportation improvements we can get for the area. I do have a question for staff. On page 4 of the memo, it says a staff impact analysis demonstrated that fee and tax reductions would not catalyze many projects moving forward, as current economic conditions, specifically the high cost of land, labor, and inflationary, okay, all right. Not everybody likes what I have to say, but that's okay. And inflationary pricing of materials and project financing are the real barriers to project feasibility. Staff go on to make the case that the benefit of this policy would instead be in a market signal. Now, given that staff does not expect these incentives to catalyze development, what measures are we going to be using to gauge whether this policy is successful?
So Eric Sullivan, Housing Director. Thank you, Councilmember Ortiz, for the question. To reply, and looking at, as we've been through a detailed analysis of these projects, and as we were going through the iterations of the sizing of the incentives over the last couple of months, as Blage had mentioned, I think we're now in a position to think that there are a couple of projects that will move forward, and that will be part of the outcome measures we are looking at for moving these projects forward. Overall, in the totality of the units identified, the totality of the projects listed on the reference sheet, the majority probably will not move forward with this, but we know of, based on the detailed analysis and review of performance that we have done, that at least 2 or 3 may go forward, sufficient to say that we've achieved some intended outcomes of the incentive.
So 2 or 3 may go forward?
That's correct.
We can't confirm if that's an absolute, that it will go forward?
There are no absolutes in housing finance, so
Okay.
I cannot commit on the record to absolutes, but based on the data, the probability of proceeding forward and reaching the target return on cost for certain projects, the probability is rather high.
Appreciate that. You know, I'm also concerned about the policy making implications of saying that projects with 5% of units being reserved for 100% AMI rents is providing affordable housing. Currently, a one-room bedroom renting to 100% AMI is $3,455 a month. Currently above market rate for much of San Jose's market, especially for my district. It's also flatly not where the vast majority of rent-burdened residents exist here in our city. Finally, the city's transportation needs are dependent on the construction taxes being proposed for reduction. Can staff explain what losses we should anticipate if this proposal advances as written?
Well, I can first speak to some of the facts regarding what is the current average market rate rents for two-bedroom apartments based on the Q3 housing report that was posted earlier this week based on CoStar's data, and that is a two-bedroom apartment average rent currently in the city of San Jose is $3,109. Based on 100% AMI family adjusted from gross income to net income, that puts their total 30% affordability scale at about $2,900, which creates about a $200 gap. So for the creation of 100% AMI units, it does address our moderate income affordability, which is an identified need within the housing element and allows us to proceed forward with creating, at least as I mentioned, 2 or 3 projects that will address some immediate workforce housing needs. As to detriments to the program, there are always trade-offs and balances in considering how best to incentivize market rate development, but that is for council and the mayor to consider how best to weigh those policy priorities based on staff recommendations and detailed analysis.
I appreciate it, but you did the study, so is there any idea what sort of benefits we will be giving away? Is there a dollar amount?
The dollar amount to benefits on the total amount of in lieu fees based on sampled projects over the last 3 is roughly $14 million. That $14 million when invested into affordable housing on a 225 per unit basis generates approximately 65 units, which is less than the total amount of units identified in the IHO programs based on 5% on-site construction of the 3 projects sampled in the analysis. So based on that data, because we do not have time sufficiently to go through all the project data, we can say that the benefit is to the positive in the development of affordable housing as well as total housing units being constructed on both market rate and affordable.
Is there any data of some of the impacts to the traffic capital improvement program?
Thank you, Councilmember John Russo, Director of Transportation. As we described in the presentation, if all of the development projects that are on the list actually move forward and take advantage of those discounts in that time period, then we've estimated that the 5-year capital improvement program would see approximately a $4.6 million reduction in construction tax fees. Those construction taxes actually support our staff and project development for many of our safety programs in Vision Zero, but that's over a 5-year period, and it would have that impact only if all of those projects are available of that discount, which we don't know that's going to happen.
Which most likely won't happen, I think, as was mentioned. Okay, well, given these trade-offs, personally, I don't think I can support this incentive, especially without evidence that it will advance us towards our overall goal. I don't want to throw spaghetti at the wall continuously and put things into law that may or may not help our situation. We've already seen the downtown high-rise incentive have no fruit to its efforts, and so I'm in the business of helping our working people and not just in the business of thinking about, tax and fee write-off. So thank you so much.
Okay, let me turn to Councilmember Cohen.
Yeah, thank you. Let me start by acknowledging Councilmember Davis's acknowledgement of my memo that didn't mean much. As was pointed out, it's not like me to write a memo that doesn't really ask for much, but the main purpose of my memo was to just talk about the impact on the North San Jose fee portion, and not to suggest that the motion shouldn't be more inclusive. Thank you for acknowledging it. There's nothing more frustrating than being on council and cheering when we approve a housing project, and then years later not seeing a housing project, and driving by a property and saying, well, we expected there to be housing here, and continuing to reach out to developers about the timeline on those projects. And obviously, our programs, our parks, our transportation depends on taxes and fees from these projects, but obviously taxes and fees on 0 projects doesn't actually help our transportation and parks. I will tell you, having been in this knee-deep for a while on the parks portion, there was a lot of heartburn about reducing parks fees. So that's a very specific piece of this, but this is the same heartburn that I'm sure we all feel on the transportation side as well. And I know that, you know, I appreciate John Cicerelli being in the box. I know, Director Cicerelli, you haven't been asked anything yet, but I just want to acknowledge that your involvement on this from the parks fee standpoint and the sacrifices that this means for potentially sacrifices this means for parks fees. Again, the flip side is parks fees are meaningless if there's no projects. So that's the trade-off we're trying to address here. In North San Jose, we have a parks deficiency. We know we have a huge $85 million need for park improvements. We have a $30, and I was trying to outline this in my memo a little bit. We have a 30-acre property at Agnews that we're hoping to build a park on someday, but it's $50 million to do what we need to do there. Certainly, as we were having this conversation, I was trying to minimize the impact on those kinds of projects in North San Jose. At the same time, and by the way, the approval of the Sealy project a while ago, we were trying to size the park there appropriately so that there was enough extra money left over to be able to use that as a seed money for Agnews. So we didn't really want to take that hit on that. But if the project doesn't move forward, there's no resources at all. And the idea here is that in this case, the park fee reduction in North San Jose is a permanent change that could incentivize other projects that are also quite large being proposed in North San Jose. If 24,000 housing units do come to fruition, which is what's in our housing element up in North San Jose, we will more than make up for this reduction in fees. And these fees were set in North San Jose many years ago when the property there was much more valuable and development was happening. No housing units have been built in North San Jose in 10 years. So we want to make sure that we're not pricing ourselves out of being able to do that. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for their engagement. We did a good engagement process with North San Jose, and I was just clear from the beginning that we should not lower the fees below the highest level in the city, so that North San Jose still has the highest level, which this number will do for us. So thank you for that. I have a couple of questions on the other portion now, the incentives that are for these 35 projects. One question is the first year, the first about 12 months, 13 months, and 1,500 units, are the affordable housing projects included within the 1,500, or are those a separate category? So is it the first 1,500 units inclusive of both categories of projects?
It's included in those categories of the total 1,500. I will say, as mentioned during the presentation, the affordable projects already have a 50% reduction in their construction taxes, so it should just be adding to that.
Right.
And it's just basically another form of subsidy that we otherwise provide to the projects, so it's not determinative or detrimental to the progress of those projects.
And given some of the projects some of us know are going to move forward or are very likely to move forward in the next year, we're going to probably have I know of about 1,000 units already that will probably move forward very quickly under this change. We really only have about 500 more units for people to compete for and scramble for to be able to get the full 50% reduction.
That's correct, and that is also the intent.
Okay.
We want to spur some competition.
I appreciate that, and then going forward, hopefully the 25% will continue to be enough incentive at that point to continue getting these projects built. One last thing, there was a conclusion, and I think you kind of mentioned it in your answer to Councilmember Ortiz's questions. Can you just kind of reiterate one more time? There was a comment in the presentation, and I know based on our conversations, conclusion that we get more units out of this than we would get per dollar from collecting an IHO fee. Can you just kind of try to explain that a little bit more?
Sure. So in the collection of the IHO fee, we then turn that around and provide a per unit subsidy to affordable projects. Based on the last 3 projects funded, the average subsidy per unit ranged at about $225,000 to about $250,000. The balance of projects that are on the wait list have not updated their data on per unit subsidy requests since 2021. Beginning in January of 2025, and based on initial reviews of performers as they're beginning to roll in and revising the data, we're seeing the per unit subsidies rise to that range of 225 to 250. We're hoping it's less, but based on that baseline assessment, we look at what is that total per unit subsidy, what's the total subsidy collected as in lieu fee waivers, divide that out, and what we get to is a conclusion that the total amount of affordable projects at the 100% AMI level is greater than, included in that 5% set aside for on-site construction, than the total amount of projects we can provide on a per subsidy unit level on the affordable side. So that analysis and that math demonstrates that this project is to the positive benefit of the market rate units as well as on-site affordable units, and that the loss of in lieu fees, again, for that short period of time that we are discussing here and for specific to this world of projects, is not a substantial detriment to the advancement of all of our housing objectives.
So just to rephrase that a little bit, if we were to collect the in lieu fees at their current levels, we would be able to subsidize fewer units than we will receive by requiring 5% inclusionary.
That's correct.
Now, that's assuming we're lumping together all affordability levels as one category of affordable housing. So, and I know there's been some angst about the question of 100% versus 80% versus 60%. And you pointed out that the number is really is about $200 a month savings for the 100%, at least on paper. How do you think this really plays out in terms of affordability, and what kinds of units we'll end up with in this policy, and how we can continue to approach filling that gap for other levels of affordability?
Sure. So as of today, there are 15 affordable projects currently under construction, generating just over 2,103 total units. Across that 15 project range, the AMI level spans from 40% to roughly 80%, as the majority of those projects were geared towards ELI, VLI measures, because they were balanced with county Measure A funds, as well as Housing Authority voucher subsidies. So in looking at the current pipeline, projecting that forward, that per unit subsidy amount will increase, as I mentioned, based on that 2021 initial NOFA and project wait list. And we're going through that assessment now with the county, and the city per unit subsidy is likely going to be at that 225 to 250% range for that AMI range of roughly 40% to 80%, which are still workforce families. And there'll also be a component of that set of waitlist projects that'll be 30% or below permanent supportive housing units, to which subsidy per unit will exceed $250,000. So when we look at that scale, both the AMI scale served, both existing projects, and what is the per unit subsidy that the city brings into the projects to leverage county funds, and then compare that against what is the affordability ranges we get from the current projects proposed on the market rate side with 5% inclusionary units, we're able to see the totality of units being increased higher by the in lieu fee waiver because the subsidy per unit is less. Okay. You know, the market rate developers build a per unit count at a lower rate than affordable. That's just a statistical fact, because they don't have a lot of the high transaction costs as well as the subsidy requirements that are getting under affordable units versus market rate units. So when you look at that on balance and in scale, we get to some tough considerations about how best to further our affordable housing goals, but this fits well within our overall housing continuum of objectives of bringing forth market rate units, of bringing forth affordable units at that higher end moderate income scale, and we continue to fund a totality of affordable units with other sources of fund that we have generated from the city. In total, we have collected just about $35 million in lieu fee waivers over the past 3 fiscal years, of which the lowest year of collection was fiscal year 23-24, where only $1.5 million was collected, because no projects are moving forward.
Right.
So it speaks to that continuing need as to how we best balance these core objectives around the generation of new housing projects, the generation subsequent of those funds, and how we apply those funds strategically across the housing continuum in order to advance our global housing goals.
Thank you. Thank you for the explanation. My red light's flashing at me, so I wanted to just wrap up because I like to be cognizant of my time. But so that you raise a good point, which is that we have been through other means been able to build, and we have 2,000 units coming in that lower income range. We've talked a lot about the missing middle for teachers and others at that 80 to 100% range, and so perhaps this is, in some sense, will get us moving in a category that we're not otherwise building. So, you know, there's obviously always trade-offs, but this isn't completely a bad thing to be able to get units at that category that other sources of funding don't subsidize.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilor Cohen. Appreciate your comments and you starting with the point, you didn't say it this way, but the point about essentially 100% of zero is still zero, and I think it's particularly relevant in a year when it was actually zero. Zero market rate units means we literally did not generate any of the impact fees, any of the inclusion, any of the benefits that we hope for. Also appreciate you clarifying that we are, while we can talk about which income levels we care most about, we are in net getting more units in terms of actual supply of affordable housing, albeit at a higher AMI, but it's still more affordable units than we would otherwise be getting, which is, I think, a pretty creative solution given the constraints we face. All right, we have a number of colleagues with hands still up. Let me turn to Councilor Dwan next.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Thank you, staff, for all their incredible work. I do have just one question. I know that we have 35 projects in the pipeline. How do we look in the future, you know, enticing other builder for the future? How can we extend this program so that way we'll continue to have builder and build those housing that we need, the 62,000 units, somewhere all the way until 2031?
Thank you, Councilmember. And I think to your question is how do we create and foster more of an environment to build more units? And to that question, if I understand you correctly, you know, this is part of that, you know, in looking at the entire continuum that Mayor and Council are asked to fund, incentivize, otherwise support. There are various tools within the toolbox to do that. This is one of them. As the mayor said, this provides an opportunity to get some moderate income, more workforce, higher in the AMI scale, closer to 100% units that we otherwise don't directly support now, because a lot of our funds go to lower AMI, more PSH units, more 40% below AMI. So this is a way to further and advance continuing investments as well as incentives to build out more supply at that other end of the housing continuum scale.
Thank you. And thank you, Local 405, for being here. We just want to make sure that, you know, we're working with company to meet all the qualification, and, you know, they don't have any wage theft judgments against them or some in the process. We make sure that we have projects that can support all of our workers out there and all of our trade, not only now but also in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Let me turn now to Councilmember Foley.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation and for the members of the public who came and spoke to us today, and for all the briefings I had yesterday on all sides of this issue. It was very helpful for me to hear from everyone's perspective. So 14 months ago, we had a study session that talked about the high cost of housing and that housing wasn't going to get built because there were a lot of factors that we could not control, such as interest rates, such as the supply chain, such as labor costs. All of those things were disclosed to us as it relates to either market rate housing or affordable housing. We were told pretty much the same thing, although we are seeing some affordable rate projects going up. I have some going up in my district and will continue to go up in my district. We asked you, when we approved the downtown high-rise incentive earlier this year, to come back to us to look at this as a citywide incentive and what could we do citywide to incentivize development. At the time, I was concerned about adopting the downtown high-rise incentive from understanding that every time we do these incentives, are we actually moving the needle at all? There were a couple developers in the audience who came right up to the podium and said, yes, we are ready to break ground. They haven't broken ground yet. So I'm concerned, and I've met with developers who are on this list who say they're ready to go. And so I'm going to take a leap of faith and support them and say that, okay, let's see if you are truly ready to go. Because we do need housing. We need mid-range housing. We need affordable housing. We need VLI, ELI, 80% AMI. We need all of that. That is actually getting built. What isn't getting built is the 100% AMI, the mid-range market that we're not paying attention to, but we should be paying attention to. This is one tool that we actually have control over. The IHO is something that we put in place before I was on council, and the taxes we have are things that we have in our control to affect. So in general, I'm supportive of this. I have a couple of questions, and John, I want you to think about Vision Zero first, because I'm going to come back to you. But Eric, I want to ask for you logistically, if we adopt this today, how does a developer receive the exemption? Do they come to you? Do they have to do anything? What's the process for them, to people on this list, to come forward and say, okay, I qualify, my project is deemed complete by 2022, I'm ready to go? What do they have to do with the housing department?
So there are two paths for this, and thank you, Council Member, for the question. For those projects that have existing affordable housing compliance plans, they would have to submit for requests to participate into the waive into this incentive program and adjust their compliance plan. And the resolution, the memorandum, gives me the authority to make that decision. That decision will be based on whether or not the incentive moves the project forward and gets to the outcomes, as we discussed earlier, and catalyzing it into production. For those who don't have a completely executed compliance plan, then they can waive into this if they qualify for those that are on the list. So that is the two-lane approach to moving their projects forward under this program.
Okay, so if the project already has been approved with a higher than 5% affordability built on site, that still holds. Is that correct? Or they can request a 5% reduction, or down to the 5%?
They can request, the incentive functions as the baseline, so they can go to 100% waive of in lieu fees, they can go to 5%, and then there's discretion applied.
Okay.
So that is essentially setting a new baseline criteria for then consideration of the project and how best to advance it forward.
Okay.
And if I could just add, as we mentioned previously, and as is the case with the downtown high-rise incentive, each project will have a project completion agreement, and each project, as it's ready to come and kind of be officially in the program, will come back to council, because we have our sunshine ordinance with anything valued over $100,000 has to come and have its own public hearing and come back. So each one of these projects, at the time that it's actually ready to move forward, the council will see.
Okay, that sounds like a potential delay. So are they fast-tracked so that they can meet
it works.
Calendar?
Yeah, it works. It's relatively simple, and there's a 30-day noticing period.
Simple with bureaucracy.
It's relatively simple. But there's a 30-day noticing period, and so we work closely with planning and housing. Everybody kind of works together so that we're not holding it up. So it will come at a clip that's acceptable.
Okay, great, thank you. And Eric, just one other thing. You're really good with statistics, and you said that this will only affect, in your estimation, $14 million. Was that right, towards affordable housing? and that equates to about 65 units.
That is of the sample size that we tested for this. We did not do a stress test of total IHO for all projects in the list on the market rate side. The 14 million is in reference to the 3 that we test run in order to size the incentive. If all these projects go, again, we're capped it at 1,500 units, so they can't all go under this. But if they go in the other versions of it, the lower construction tax at later dates before their entitlements expire, we can do that analysis and show that potential impact.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, John, when I hear that there's a reduction in construction tax and those taxes go to build safe streets and street improvements, can you tell me what projects, wearing my Vision Zero hat, you know I would be asking about Vision Zero, what projects are in jeopardy that relate to street safety and pedestrian safety?
Thank you, Councilmember John Russo, Director of Transportation. While I probably can't give you specific projects because these are going to be an out-year capital program, I can tell you what some of the programs that are probably going to be impacted.
Okay.
And really these kind of funds help to support the staff that works on the neighborhood traffic management program that's in every one of the council districts that we use funds and those are the funds that are set aside for small scale safety improvements around schools, residential streets, you know, the enhanced crosswalks, beacons, all of that sort of work is part of the program that these funds directly fund. So those are going to be something in the future. Now, it's not the immediate year that we're working in that's going to be impacted. These are forecasts for some of the out years in the 5-year capital improvement program. But that's an example of where some of the impact can be, both in the staff that work on it as well as the actual construction projects that go into that.
So could possible quick build lane reduction programs be affected, protected bike lanes, things like that?
Yeah. And I can't tell you which ones might be, because a lot of those are still funded by grants that we still are seeking to secure. These funds that we use for the construction taxes are going to support the staff that go after those grants, as well as the engineering and planning work that goes into developing those projects. So I probably can't tell you specifically a project that will be impacted.
Okay, that helps. So since this construction is likely, hopefully, to begin next year, and these reductions will start taking effect upon occupancy, is that right? Or is that, when will you see a reduction in contributions to the capital projects?
Yeah, and again, these are all, we anticipate these development projects, and a lot of help from both planning and the budget office to forecast the numbers of units that might be built and the construction taxes and any other fees that go along with it, and that's in the budget, our 5-year capital program. If these go forward, those that fit into this program and pay a reduced fee, that's when we start to see it at an occupancy.
Which is a few years down the line.
Yeah, it's a couple of years, I would imagine, a couple of years down the line, so.
Okay.
Yep.
Blage, you're ready to
I
speak.
was just going to chime into what John
Thanks,
was
John.
saying. So as we were doing the analysis here, we anticipated that any impact that we would see was kind of in the 28, 29, 29, 30, and then potentially moving forward into the next 5-year capital budget because of the way the entitlement dates are, and then when they would be paying. There's kind of a 2 to 2.5, 3-year lag, obviously.
Okay, great, thank you. John, thank you for your answers on that. And my time is up, I see, but I will be supporting the motion. I think any incentive we can provide to build more housing is extremely important, and let's hope that this does it. Thank you.
Thanks, Councilmember. Appreciate that. Councilmember Condelis.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank everybody who came out to make your voice heard, especially folks from the NorCal Carpenters. especially as we seek to figure out the complex problem of building housing in our city during these current difficult economic conditions, which I'll get to in a bit. But, you know, I also appreciate the questions from my colleague on the actual spurring of housing with this incentive. Yes, we're looking to signal to the markets, but more importantly than a signal is actually putting shovels in the ground. And that's why the memorandum that we've put together for staff briefings on the progress of the projects currently in this incentive program is why we did our memo, because it's important for us as a council to be apprised and kept regularly informed of the progress of this program. And you know, the need to reduce construction barriers to accelerate the creation of more housing units, yes, while also ensuring that the men and women who are building our homes are paid fairly for their labor is just as important. The housing crisis in our city that we're facing is not just about supply and demand. It's about affordability, it's about accessibility, and more importantly, it's about equity. And you know, for years we've known that we aren't simply building enough housing to meet that demand, and just with this year, that gap is only going to grow. And it's going to make it harder for people to find homes, and it's going to raise prices for everybody, our renters, our everyone. But while the need for more housing is clear, we know that the economic conditions are the main barrier at this moment. We know that. And yes, high construction costs, yes, fees, regulations, an environment that's difficult, but the bigger picture is the market, and we can't control that. But you know, I do want to make sure that we don't lose sight of another critical issue, and that's the welfare of the workers who actually make all this possible. We have to ensure that the growth in construction activity translates into well-paying, stable jobs for those who build our homes. And I'm glad Councilmember Davis brought up the RCO, the Responsible Construction Ordinance. Our city worked really hard to pass that responsible construction orders to protect workers from bad contractors. I'm sure we all read that contractor who was indicted on 30+ counts of wage theft from stealing from their workers. And so that's not the type of contractor we want doing business in our city. And so while we are contemplating this incentive today, I think that we have to do everything we can to build housing and, more importantly, get jobs for folks to get to work and to provide food on the table for families. And so this is not the end of the conversation with regards to this incentive, and let's be clear, we're going to have multiple touch points to our council on whether this is working or not. And right now we're pulling this lever, but that doesn't mean we can't readjust and correct ship going forward. And so I'll be supporting the motion on the floor, and look forward to actually getting housing built in our city.
Thanks, Councilmember Condelis. Appreciate your comments and you pointing us to the bigger picture here and the balance we're trying to strike. Let me turn to Vice Mayor Kamei.
Thank you. So one of the things about being last is that everybody has pretty much covered all the ground. And I'd like to thank Councilwoman Foley for asking my questions, but I had a little bit more to ask regarding the Inclusionary Housing Ordinance Compliance Plan. For those projects that have it, they can only access it with your approval, is that correct?
For those that have confirmed affordable housing compliance plans, it's left to the Director of Housing's discretion to decide whether or not they can opt out.
Okay, so, an example would be in my district, like El Paseo, they do have a plan, so they would have to go through that process to be able to be, they're eligible, but they would have to go through you to be able to get that assessment, yes?
It is my clear understanding in working with the developer that that project is looking to not participate in this as we're looking to progress this incentives forward.
Okay, and then in terms of the projects, Attachment A really reflects the 34, it's not 35, it's 34 projects that are eligible, is that correct?
Actually, we We submitted a supplemental memo yesterday, so it has a revised list of projects. There are 35 total.
Okay, so there's just that one more?
Correct.
So
Yeah,
there are
one
no
came,
others?
One came off, and we refined it with PBCE. So there's most updated information is in the supplemental memo. It's the 9,633 units, 35 total projects.
Okay, but I mean, there are no other ones lingering around?
No, there aren't, based on our.
Okay, so that it's clear who is eligible for the incentive and who is not?
Correct.
Okay, very good. Well, with that, I'd like to thank all of the work that was done through the staff. I'd like to thank all of the speakers here today, and I will reiterate that, yes, in fact, you know, the responsible construction ordinance is very, very important to me in this council, and you will see that we're looking for really good jobs and make sure that you are taken into consideration on all of this. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Vice Mayor. Appreciate the discussion we've had. A lot of great points made. And again, we're never going to all agree on everything, but I think it was a very substantive dialogue, and I think the council is landing on the right path forward, the right compromise at this moment. I wanted to add just a couple of comments. I think pretty much everything was said maybe 2 or 3 times. So one, though, I wanted to highlight was, you know, I've heard some versions of, and heard in public comment today, you know, don't make us choose between more housing and say infrastructure, traffic infrastructure, or other versions of that. I don't mean to pick on any public commenters or particular priorities folks have. Don't make us choose between more housing and more funding for parks or deeper affordability, et cetera. I think the reality, and we heard this, I'm thinking back on a study session we had last year on cost of construction, where Chris Neal made this point, a local developer who builds both market rate and affordable housing. And he made the point that we have talked about our high cost of living, driven largely by the lack of new housing supply, as the greatest crisis in our community. We all say it's our #1 priority, and then we say, we're gonna enable housing with the following 8 requirements because there are also all these other priorities we have. And at some point, you know, our job, and it's what makes it such a hard job, is to acknowledge and address the trade-offs we face. And that doesn't mean we zero out everything else. That's not what we're doing here. It doesn't mean we don't find other ways to fund things. But the reality is that if we, particularly through one-time fees, try to meet all of those other obligations on the back of new housing construction, we will get less housing, which is our #1 need, our #1 crisis. And to the earlier point about how little we're building, we may not actually get much more of anything else. And so to Councilmember Foley's question earlier to John, for example, I would slightly push back, John, and say the answer could be none. Because this year, the answer was none. We took 0 building permits. We didn't build anything. So we're not losing anything if we build some more housing. In fact, with only 50% reduction, you're actually getting some additional funding. So I think we may need to reframe the way we think about these one-time fees. I frankly would rather get the building in the ground, build the housing that we all agree is our #1 priority, have the recurring revenue to the city of property and sales taxes going forward, because we now have more residents, we have more property that's assessed at a higher value and paying higher property taxes. We have people working and shopping and living in our community and paying those sales taxes, then optimize for a one-time fee. And when we realize we're getting 0 building permits and we need to maybe reduce those fees, I don't think we should think of it as a loss, because frankly, we got nothing this year, literally nothing. And another way to flip that question would be, what would the impact be on parks, on Vision Zero, if we have another goose egg next year and we build nothing? Because again, we'll have 0 revenue, not 50% of something, we will have 0. So given where we are, I just want to be really clear that we need to continue to not optimize for one-off fees that, frankly, we're not even collecting because nothing's getting built, and we're failing to address our single biggest crisis, lack of housing supply. Also on downtown high-rise, I want to ask Nancy maybe or others to comment on this. My understanding is, and we'll see what happens in the first half of next year downtown and if we get some new building permits pulled, but historically, there have been a number of units, hundreds of units built downtown that we're pretty confident, based on what our analysis, only were built because of the downtown high-rise fee incentive. And if you could maybe speak to that. We haven't necessarily seen it. I think, I forget who made the comment, I think is right for the last 6 months, but if you go back 5 years, we've had buildings built only because of that. And can we maybe just share that for the record?
Thank you very much for the question, Mayor. There are several buildings that would have not gone for sure but for the incentive. From Miro to the Grad, Eric was just mentioning that the Gateway project is going to go. So we know that this program has had success on a very difficult and expensive building type, but several of them that we thought were going to go by now have not yet gone.
And we sure hope they do.
Yes.
That's right. I don't disagree with that, but I just want to be clear that I think to Councilor Candelas' point, we don't control the market. We don't control interest rates, what bankers are willing to do. We have a limited number of tools within our control, and when we use them, we can create conditions that are more favorable on average, which means on average, on balance, we will get more projects over time. Doesn't mean it's a one-for-one. We make this reduction, we suddenly get magically 3 new projects. And then finally, appreciate the comments from Councilor Davis, Councilor Candelas, and others that we are serious about wage theft and holding contractors accountable in this city. And the RCO is a great example of that, but we're going to continue to partner with labor and other stakeholders to ensure that we hold everybody to high standards in this city and that we do not reward bad actors. And I do just want to reinforce that one more time. So appreciate all of the work staff has done. I think it's a very thoughtful path forward that balances many different interests. And let's hope it means more housing for working families here in San Jose. With that, Tony, let's vote.
Motion passes 9-1 with, I can't see the vote results yet.
It was
I
me that
just
voted
get the
no.
total. Was Ortiz? Okay, so 9-1 with Ortiz voting no. Now it's up on the screen.
All right, thank you, Tony, thank you all. We are going to recess until 6 p.m. where we will take up our final item 10.2. So I'll see everyone at 6 p.m.
Get out.
Thank you.